those are small, minute problems compared to what the WNBA is worried about, right? And I think the audio is good now on the stream, guys. So I appreciate you letting us know about that. But I think we're good now. But look, yeah, it wasn't a great finals. A ton to get to from last night's game. The only reason, Diesel, that I watched the game from start to finish is because I had a little bit of a vested interest, right? I had a reason to watch. I'll be honest with you. If I didn't have any cheese on the game last night, I wouldn't have watched till the end.
Do you think there's a lot of people, and I'm going to rephrase that. I know there's a lot of people who only watch the NBA finals because they gamble on it.
Uh-huh.
I mean, do you think gambling is propping up sports that otherwise people would not watch?
100%.
And sports that would be in dire straits, in big trouble when it comes to viewership if there wasn't gambling.
I don't know about dire straits, but I will say yes. To answer your question, there's a lot of eyeballs on it for one reason. And just a quick side note, North Carolina, Florida State is underway. They did have the bases loaded, did the Seminoles. They did get a sack run in, so it's 3-0. Florida State leads North Carolina. Does that say the top of the third, Diesel?
Yes, top of the third. We got 2 on, 2 out. Florida State just took a 3-0 lead with that sacrifice single.
So we'll keep you updated on that. This is an elimination game between the Seminoles and the Tar Heels. Hopefully, North Carolina comes back. I want to see a good game today, man. Let's get a little good.
I don't want to see North Carolina come back.
Well, I just mean keep it close. I don't want to see a blowout.
I hate everything about North Carolina. And I picked Florida State to win the whole thing.
That's true.
And they got screwed by Tennessee.
All right, so last night, Diesel, to put a bow on the NBA season, because it's going to be a while after today before we talk about the NBA again. As I said to open the show, Dallas didn't match up well at all. I mean, as good as Dallas played coming into the series, you know what's fascinating? My first thought about the NBA Finals is, Diesel, basketball, baseball, football, yeah, they're different sports, but man, they're really different in the way that teams get hot and perform. What I mean is, basketball is not baseball, man. Just because you're playing hot, rolling into the finals like Dallas did, doesn't mean you have a chance to win it like you see in baseball sometimes. In basketball, it is truly about matchups, and when you look at the matchup between Dallas and Boston with Luka Doncic's defensive liability, there were just check, many matchups across the board that Boston won, and that's the biggest reason that series was lopsided.
I mean, I think Dallas, by making the finals, Dallas achieved their ceiling. There was no way that Dallas was going to beat that team. Just no way. I mean,
yeah, give credit. Boston's good, right?
Yeah, Boston's really good. They are historically good. They gave up a lot on the defensive end with Luka and his inability to play defense and cover anybody. And then Kyrie just didn't show up for half of this series. He stunk it up again. We asked that question yesterday, I believe, in the 5 o'clock fight. Were we going to get games 1 and 2 Kyrie, or were we going to get game 3 and 4 Kyrie? We got game 1 and 2, 15 points yesterday.
We did.
Kyrie might have been the most detrimental thing about that team in this series, and that's comparing him to Luka's defense.
Well, here's the deal. Last Thursday, when you and Rob and I, or maybe 2 Thursdays ago now, I can't even remember, when we were at Carolina Country Club for the BMW Pro-Am, we talked about this matchup because it was just getting started. And I said my biggest concern, even though, Diesel, I wanted Dallas to win, my biggest concern was the bench, the depth and the role players. That is where Boston just ran shop on Dallas. The role players that Boston has, like Drew Holiday, like he is the difference maker for a championship team. By the way, he's won 2 different championships now with 2 different teams, the Bucks and the Celtics. He was the difference maker. Boston's deep. That is, Diesel, I've watched a lot of NBA in the last decade. Last night's Boston win, that team, that is as complete of a team, not individual stars, but as complete of a team as I've seen in a long, long time.
Well, here's what's really scary and should be scary about that team is if they're young and if Derek White extends his contract and doesn't ask for a ton more money and push them farther over the cap because they can't go any farther over the cap, this team can stay intact.
Yeah.
They don't have to move on from anybody
except for
probably
at
least 2 more years.
AARP Al Horford, right? Like besides Al.
Oh, come on. Give him a break. He won his first title at 38.
17th season
Yeesh.
in the NBA. Is that not wild? Like that story on its own, Diesel, it took him 17 years. And it's not his fault, right? You got to be on good teams. Maybe some of it's his fault, but like you can't just put it on Al. But like that's a testament.
He just sounds like an old man.
He does.
Like, tell me, do you know anybody under the age of 40 whose name is Al?
No, I don't.
When I hear Al, I hear Al Bundy and Al Horford.
Yeah.
There's no other Als. Like nobody's out there naming their kid Alfonso in 2024. And then they grow up and they're like, for short, I'll be Al. No, they don't do that.
Ricky on the stream says Luka's got to lose weight. Look, I don't know what the answer is for Luka and his defensive inability, like you said, Diesel, like you put it earlier.
He's got to work. I think that's all it is. He's got to work. I don't remember who it was. I can't take credit for this analysis. But they were saying on ESPN earlier last week. Yeah, they were saying Luka has been the best player on his team, every team he's ever been on since he was a little kid.
Sure.
So he's been told. You're great. You're great. You're the best. You're great. You don't have to do anything. Just be you. Play your game. That's over, man. That's over. You got to go out there and you got to work for it if you want to improve yourself and if you ever want to be a champion. I mean, he would go down as clearly one of the bust is not the right word, but biggest disappointments in the NBA in a long time if that guy never wins a title.
No, I agree with that. And look, offensively, his bag is there, right? Offensively, he can do what he wants at the pace that he plays with pretty much no problem. However, the Boston Celtics, you could literally go back and watch the highlights and hear the team talking to the coach, Joe Mazzulla. They literally targeted Luka and said, look, we're going to go after him. We're going to move him off of ball screens. We're going to play right into his weaknesses. And they did, like all series long. They came out and attacked him. And listen, for as good as a player as he is, and I agree with you, he is a championship caliber player offensively. But for as good as a player he is, when you're the first man, when you're the first line of defense, when you're playing point guard, you've got to play a little. I'm not asking you to go play championship level defense, but like James Harden, that's one of the reasons he hasn't won an NBA championship, right? Defensively, he's a liability.
Yeah.
At some point, you have to improve. And if that is losing weight, maybe that's the answer. I don't know. I agree with he's got to put the work in. There's no doubt. But man, like he is such a good player, Diesel. It blows my mind as to why he just can't figure it out defensively. Maybe he's too slow. I don't know. But it's not good. It's definitely not good. Quick scoring update. We'll get back to the NBA. It's 3-0, bottom of the third. North Carolina's up to the plate now, and there's 2 outs, I believe. That screen's hard to see.
Yeah, there's 2 outs. You're right. It's tiny. That little first out dot underneath the base path is really hard to see. I wonder, Cole, who's going to have to pay for Derek White's dental work?
Oof.
I mean. Is he going to pay? If you're the team, if you're the Boston Celtics, would you pay for his dental work out of pocket? Because man, he came up
nasty.
And a term you hadn't heard the other day, spitting chiclets.
Yeah,
he was looking like Fran, the Eastern European dodgeball thrower in the movie Dodgeball. Just those frinkly teeth, looking weird. I mean, like I can't remember ever taking any kind of an injury in any sport that I played like that. Nothing like anywhere close. I remember I got pegged in the back by a long distance baseball throw. Like it was, people throwing it, seeing how far they could throw it in warmups. And I had my back turned and I got pegged right in the back and it took me out for that game. I couldn't play. But like, that's the only thing that I got that's close to Derek White's faceplant.
It was nasty. Listen,
they better check to see if the floor's okay.
Yeah. Well, good thing you don't have to play on it anymore. Derek White was a huge piece of Boston's success. As I said earlier, this was the best example of a team. When you talk about Tatum and Jaylen Brown, we talked about it on this show several times, and there was a big question mark going into the series. Who was more valuable? Was it Jason Tatum or Jaylen Brown? And I said a few days ago, I thought that the more valuable player this postseason was Jaylen Brown. And he had an incredible series. He won the NBA Finals MVP as he deserved. If Jason Tatum would have won that MVP last night after his one good game, I was going to be upset. He had 31 last night, did Tatum, but Brown had 21. They're just stacked, man. When you look at Horford, Holiday 15, the bench contributes. They're such a well-oiled machine. And to your point, they're not going anywhere.
No, they're not going anywhere because they have been built to be an unselfish team. Here's audio of Jaylen Brown when he was receiving his MVP trophy, and he makes it about Jason Tatum. That's why this team is going to be around for a long time. It's going to be real scary in the Eastern Conference.
What does holding this trophy mean to you?
It was a full team effort, and I shared this with my brothers and my partner in crime, Jason Tatum. He was with me the whole way, so we shared it.
Especially when the media tried so hard to drive a wedge between those two. And I couldn't quite ever figure it out. I mean, maybe you can give me some insight as to what the media saw to try to, as they're opening, to try to drive this wedge between them, because I didn't see it.
Listen, maybe one time there was a little bit of flare up between the two, a long time. I don't know. Maybe the media took a tiny little crumb and ran with it, but no. Listen, from what it seems, Diesel, there's no beef. And I know the media's job is to divide, right? It's just the same with politics. There's a lot of media entities that say, okay, look, it's the NBA Finals. Let's see what we can create now. And
when you got boring games, you have to create storylines. Yeah. And the storyline is, hey, can these two, when the pressure is on, when they're in the biggest possible situation, can they get over their division that they had 5 years ago?
And it's the same thing to me. I relate it to what was it, Outkick, when they asked the question to Dawn Staley before the championship game. Again, it's a media outlet, a media entity trying to do something to push their agenda. Unfortunately, that's the world we live in. And, I don't think there's anything to it. But to your point about them not going anywhere, I don't know how much longer Horford. I would assume Horford calls it a career.
Yeah, but I mean, losing Al Horford is not going to be, detrimental to this team going forwards. By the way, North Carolina just scored on a single to right field. Runner was on second, so that runner scores, and the batter did get a double there off of that hit down the right field line. So the game
took the over.
Is now 3-1. Florida State, 2 outs, 1 on, bottom of the third. When you look, though, Cole, at just what this Boston Celtics team did this year in these playoffs, it's just ridiculous. 16-3 in the playoffs. They breezed through the playoffs. And I remember we were asking the question a week ago, 2 weeks ago, before this NBA Finals series started.
Yeah.
Would Boston be able to do to Dallas what they had done to everybody else in these playoffs, right? They were the second team since 2003 to lose 3 or fewer games in a postseason. So they are as elite gets in the postseason. 17 wins, Cole, by 25 points or more. 16 wins by 25 points or more in these playoffs. It was just crazy what they did.
You know what's wild? I heard, and I want to give credit to the show that comes on after us, Diesel. BetQL, is that right? BetQL with Krista. She said something. Trista, is that right? Trista? TR? Trista said something last night where I want to give her a lot of credit when it comes to Boston. She pulled out a stat as I was on the way home last night, Diesel. I was listening to Trista, and she does a great job, by the way. They're based out of Boston. They were giving some predictions on the game, right? Some lines. And she talked about that the 3 times that Boston has lost in the postseason, she gave a stat on what they did the very next game. And literally, as I'm driving down the road, I heard that stat from Trista, and I said, okay, I'm taking Boston to cover the spread tonight. I'm glad I did. So shout out to Trista for the cheese last night. She came in clutch. I advise you to listen and check her out as well check her out on the radio show, I mean. But look, they know their stuff. Boston, to her point, when they lost in the postseason, they turned around and performed really, really well. And last night, from the very get-go, 28 points in the first quarter, outscoring Dallas 28-18, 39 points in the second quarter. And then in the fourth quarter, they just had a cruise, pretty much in the second half. They put it on cruise control because they won that game in the first half last night. And as you said earlier, I don't know. We talked about Luka, but I don't know what the deal is with Kyrie because he hasn't been this way all season. He was really good this year. For whatever reason, though, Diesel, it's just like Boston has his number and he can't perform against Boston.
Well, it's the curse. It's the curse of stomping on Lucky. You can't do that.
I guess that proves to be true because Kyrie was pretty much non-existent in the postseason. And listen, I'm a Kyrie fan. I like Kyrie. I think he's one of the most skilled guys on the planet when he performs to his ability. However, He just didn't show up. And, you have to have a 3-point threat as your 2, and he was not a 3-point threat at all. They just couldn't keep up. As you said, that was a big part of it. All right, quick update. Top of the 4th. Florida State is back up to the plate in the College World Series elimination game. The Seminoles lead 3-1 over the North Carolina Tar Heels.
Kyrie, by the way, is 32 years old, which blows me away because the dude looks about 38. I don't know how he doesn't have a great skincare routine or something. I don't know, man, but he looks old. He looks old. But, at 32, he's certainly staring down the bad side of his career, right? I was watching ESPN this morning, and they were talking about all these pros that all started winning their first titles at 26, 27, 28 years old.
Yep.
And obviously Kyrie is on the back end of that. So Dallas, maybe they're just a franchise who peaked a year too early, right? Maybe next year or the year after that, they can make some moves in the offseason or ahead of the trade deadline in the NBA and get themselves to where they need to be. I mean, the Western Conference is certainly a much more difficult conference. There's a whole lot more parity in the West than there is in the East. So you got to have depth. I mean, the fact that they even got to this point with the limited depth that they do have, I think it is a testament to Jason Kidd and what the Dallas Mavericks have going for them. But they're not going to win titles until they start making big moves. And that's one of the things that scares me for Dallas Mavericks fans is if Kyrie is going to play another 2 years or so for this team and he's going to go, are they going to have to trade off of Luka, or are they going to rebuild an entire team around him?
Yeah.
It's time for the Dallas Mavericks to get serious.
So I'll say this, the last thing I'll say on this topic before we hit a break. Jason Kidd's the guy. He's a dude. He can coach his butt off. He's a really good coach. He really is. He understands how to relate to the players and get the most out of them. They're not moving off of Luka. They may move off of Kyrie in 2 years. I would see Kyrie still being a part of the Dallas Mavericks for the next 2 years or so because his fit in Dallas, his placement in Dallas has been the best it's been for him out of any other place other than Cleveland with LeBron. Boston didn't work. Brooklyn didn't work. Dallas did work. So you're right. Their ceiling this year, it seemed as if it was making it to the finals. They've got to add some depth. Derek Lively, really good player, really good pick. He was a no-show in the NBA Finals as well. He played like a rookie. He is a rookie. They still have to add some pieces. The West is loaded, to your point. Minnesota's not going anywhere. So I look for them to be competitive, but the front office, they've got to be a little bit more aggressive this offseason, in my opinion.
What do you, Tolos, think about all of this? 71307, start your text with keyword fan. You can call us on the Renewal by Anderson of the Carolinas fan phone. That's 844-326-3663, or drop a comment on Facebook, Twitter, or on YouTube. When we come back, Cole, let's talk college football and let's talk crappy mascots. What is the worst mascot in every Division I football playing conference? You got to pick one. Who's it going to be and why? That's coming up next on the Fan Upstate.
He's the fan Upstate.
Oh, Cole, we're getting so close, yet we're still so far away. 66 days, 21 hours, 35 minutes, and 11, 10, 9, 8 seconds until college football kicks off in 2024. 66 sleeps, as they say.
That's nothing, man.
That's
Do
nothing.
you realize how, that is, I get goosebumps. I'm fired up.
But 66
I'm
days
ready.
without football.
I'm ready.
Man, we don't have any football at all right now, right?
Now we have nothing.
Now we got nothing.
College World Series.
UFL is, College World Series coming to a close. UFL is done. Man,
I'm ready.
Like, it is the dog days, as they say. And let's be real, we are not going to get ratings on this show talking about mid-season Major League Baseball. It's just not. This is just not going to happen. It's not going to happen, Cole. But we do have some fun talking about the weird, off-the-wall topics leading up to college football, Cole. And as we're getting close to things finally coming back and the world being right again, I want to look at some of the worst mascots in each of the 9, because I don't count the Pac-12. You already ruined that. You don't even get to be a part of this list anymore. Sorry, you're not included. We're down to 9. The worst mascot in every single football-playing FBS conference, Cole.
I'm ready.
And we got to show our work, right? We got to tell people why we think the way that we think. So
the worst of the worst.
The worst of the worst, Cole. So I'm going to start big, right? I'm going to go right here in our backyard with the SEC. We're not going to save the best for last. We're going to get it right out of the way. Start big, right? Home run on the first pitch of the game. The SEC has got some major problems, Cole, with its mascots.
Really? You think so?
Oh, yeah. Big problems with its mascots. First of all, you got 3 schools that have tigers as their mascot.
What's wrong with that?
Not a lot of tigers living in North America. Second of all, we got 2 schools with a dog who can barely breathe as their mascot. Are you familiar with the term, Cole, brachiocephalic?
No. I thought you were going to say obese.
So you're familiar with what an English bulldog looks like, right? You know what a pug looks like?
Sure.
Boxers, they all have the same thing. What do they have? They have flat noses.
Sleep apnea.
Yeah, exactly. They can't breathe. They cannot breathe, okay? Like, what we have done to these dogs in breeding them in this country and on this planet is tantamount to animal cruelty, right? Like, they're fat, they overheat, and they can't breathe.
You just described half of America.
Well,
I mean, come on.
Waffle House lovers notwithstanding, not to disparage anybody who goes to Walmart at midnight on a Saturday night, but
so
I'm just
you don't like
saying,
the bulldog mascot?
No, I hate the bulldog mascot. It's boring. It's lame. A lot of schools use it. It's overdone.
See, maybe it's because I graduated from a high school, Diesel, that was the bulldog.
Oh, God.
So maybe I'm biased.
So original, right?
I like the bulldog.
So original.
I'm going to push back on the bulldog. I like bulldogs. I have no issue with the bulldog mascot.
Bulldogs aren't even they're not even good dogs. That's the thing. They're not even good dogs.
Why do you say that?
Because they can't breathe.
Well, that doesn't affect you.
Yeah, because we've twisted and contorted their systems and smushed their faces in, and they can't even breathe. They wheeze. Have you ever listened to a pug scream?
Yeah.
It's weird.
It's weird.
It's weird, Cole. But everybody loves dogs, so I'm not going to put any one of these bulldogs as the worst in the SEC conference.
Yeah, don't do that.
One of them, it has to be either the LSU, Auburn, or Missouri Tigers.
Oh.
And Missouri's just boring, right? The Missouri Tigers. They don't really have anything special going on with their Tigers. So I'm going to eliminate them and say that, well, they're just boring and unimaginative. But you got LSU, who are the Tigers, otherwise known as the Bayou Bengals. They could go with Bayou Bengals. They got something better sitting right there. Auburn has
Tigers.
War Eagle. They got that sitting right there, but yet both of them, all 3 of them, as a matter of fact, choose to go with something lame and overdone. So I'm going to say that the worst of those 3 are the Auburn Tigers.
Yes, I agree.
They're the Auburn Tigers because they are the dude disguised as a dude who doesn't know what dude he is, right?
War Eagle
are they the
or
War Eagle?
Tiger?
Because War Eagle is a great mascot. There's not that many. There's less than 10 mascots in America that are not pluralized. right? Like you got the Stanford Cardinal, you've got the NC State Wolfpack. It's a non-pluralized name. They've got something great sitting right there.
Yeah. So,
but they choose not to go with it.
I'll agree with you on the War Eagle, on Auburn's mascot. I think it's pretty piss poor.
I mean, an eagle by itself is boring and overdone, as we're going to see once we get into the ACC.
Well, let me tell you this, though. I agree with you on Auburn. However, I'm going to go with a tie for me. I'm going to add one that's not on your list. Okay.
It can't be Gamecocks because that's actually a good mascot.
Like the Gamecock.
That's a great mascot.
I have no issue with it. I hate the Crimson Tide. What is a Crimson Tide? You have an elephant as a mascot. You call yourselves the Crimson Tide. Nobody even knows what Crimson Tide is. So if we're going to sit here and say and ask the question, who has the worst mascot in the SEC? I hear you on Auburn, but at least we know what a tiger is, right? The War Eagle, that is a little weird to me. I don't understand it. Maybe I don't know the history.
So here it is. I got it for you right here. Thank you, Google and AI, which this is the only thing that Google is good for anymore. Google is dead. You can't search for anything on Google and get an actual answer. It says the Alabama football team's nickname, the Crimson Tide, is said to have originated in 1907 after a game against Auburn in Birmingham. According to the story, the team's white jerseys became stained with red mud from the iron-rich soil of Birmingham. The sports editor, Hugh Roberts of the Birmingham Age Herald, described the team as a Crimson Tide after the game. See, I like that.
Okay, but where's
it's
the
got
elephant
some originality.
Coming? Yeah, but what's the elephant have to do with anything?
That's another good question.
Like, now that I hear the story, it makes sense, right? I hear you. It's a cool story, but where do we get the elephant? From that, I don't know where the maybe they just said, look, we got to have an animal. We have to have an animal.
It says here that in the 1930s, fans used to shout, "Hold your horses, the elephants are coming," when Alabama's varsity team came out onto the field.
Okay, that's dumb.
That is stupid.
That is dumb.
That is stupid.
Hold your horses, the elephants are coming. What are we 10? I mean, good Lord.
If you wanted to make it something cool like origins in the Roman wars that they used to have with Hannibal and the war elephants that they used to have, that'd be pretty cool. But no, it's just something stupid that a fan yelled from the stands.
All right.
Fans yell stupid things from the stands all the time.
So we'll move off the SEC.
Yeah.
I'll say Bama. You say Auburn.
I say Auburn. ACC, Cole, this one's easy. It's either the Boston College Eagles or the Pitt Panthers. They're both, again, unimaginative, boring. They're in a league with some really good mascots. And I'm not going to throw Clemson on this list. And South Carolina fans, you just hold your horses on this one. The elephants are coming.
Yeah.
Okay.
Elephants are coming.
Because there's only one Tigers in the ACC. So they get an automatic pass by being the only ones. But Clemson, you're not far from the bottom of the list. Okay. I mean, you got Hurricanes, you got Blue Devils, you got Wolfpack.
I like Blue Devils.
You got some interesting and cool mascots in the ACC. But Boston College and Pitt with the Eagles and the Panthers, neither one of those have any juice.
Here's the deal. I can't be American and say I have an issue with the Eagles. Like, you got to like an Eagle, man. That's the most American thing there is.
But there's like a million Eagles out there.
Well, a million and what? You got to like it. You got to – Pitt Panthers.
Well, Madcraft brings up a good point, and I had forgotten about this team. Truthfully, I'd forgotten about this team. I think a lot of Americans have forgotten about this team. He says the Syracuse Orange is a bad mascot. Now, they used to be the Orange Men, obviously, but then that had to be changed because of its racial connotations with the Native Americans up there, so they couldn't be the Orange Men anymore.
I agree with that, man. I do. I like that.
No, I don't hate it. Truthfully, I don't hate the orange.
So you don't hate the orange, or you don't?
No, I don't hate the orange.
Oh, see, I don't like it.
But see, I don't look at the orange the way that people who are like Madcraft's age and just a little bit younger than me, like they look at it and they see the man in the literal orange fruit costume, and that's stupid as hell. That's really bad. That's really bad. Like, but most people don't know that it comes from the Orange Men. They just think it's a color.
I don't like orange at all, man. I don't like Orange Men or orange. I don't like either one of them. Can we just? I get that they're orange in color, but
how many Panthers you see running around Pittsburgh? None.
6.
For that same reason, Cole, I'm going with the Northwestern Wildcats out of the Big Ten. Again, how many Wildcats are there running around in the Chicago suburbs? There's good mascots in the Big Ten. There's the Buckeyes. There's the Wolverines. There's All kinds of great mascots in that conference. The Boilermakers. Come on.
What is a Boilermaker?
Boilermaker refers to a train.
Okay,
Like
I'm cool with that.
Boiler that,
I like that.
Pressurizes the steam and makes the train go.
Coming. Yeah, I like that. Okay.
You got the Badgers. You got the Golden Gophers. You got great mascots all over the Big Ten. Northwestern, lame AF with the Wildcats.
Northwestern Wild. Diesel's not a fan. I don't hate it, but I guess if you have to compare it to the others, I hear you.
And then we go up to the down to the All-State 12 conference.
All-State 12.
The All-State 12.
Is it official? Are we calling it that?
It's not official. It's not official, though. Again, I'm not the first person to bring this up. I saw it from a Josh Pate tweet. The opportunity for Southwest Airlines to sponsor the Big 12 and rename it the Southwest Conference. It's like right there on a platter. Come on, Southwest Airlines, make it happen. This is what Americans want to see. But I don't want to go Wildcats again, even though I think Kansas State and the Wildcats are stupid.
Okay.
I'm going to go with the UCF Knights.
Don't say that.
The Knights of
Diesel.
UCF.
The Knights are incredible.
Could you imagine how god-awful it would be to be in Central Florida wearing armor, steel-plated armor?
Well, luckily only one person has to.
It sucks to be in the state of Florida in general, unless you're naked, because you never have a bad time when you're naked in Florida. I'm just saying, if you got to be a knight in Florida, like, what's the origin of that?
That's intimidating, though, man. Like that's kind of intimidating to me. The Knights, I can't even say it. UCF Knights.
UCF Knights.
What is USF? Are they the? That's what I almost said, but they're USF.
South Florida, the Bulls.
Bulls. Okay. See, I like
they're the Bulls. That's a good one.
Yeah,
that's a good one.
Okay.
The color scheme doesn't make any sense because they're green.
Yeah,
but still, let's go. Let's go to that conference that USF is in, the American Athletic Conference. It's got to be the combo of FAU, Rice, and Temple. They now have 3 owls.
Oh, that's terrible.
In the same conference. That's a new thing.
Who?
That's a new thing. Who? Yeah.
Who?
FAU. Who? Rice. Who? Temple.
Come on.
All these owls. Somebody's got to change, man. They got to.
I didn't know that all 3 of them were owls until you put that on the run sheet.
If you want to be a barred owl, or if you want to be a snow owl, that's great. Like the Temple snow owls. That makes sense.
Man, I didn't realize.
But you got 3 Hooters in that conference, and it doesn't make any sense.
And none of them are Hooters.
Yeah, exactly.
That's bad. Yeah, I'm not a fan of that. By the way, Bland on Twitter or on X says the Oranges are probably the funniest mascot in the ACC.
See, Mad? Bland likes it.
There you go.
Bland likes it. Okay, Sunbelt Conference.
Oh, here we go.
This is my conference.
That's what I was going to say.
This is my conference.
I'm ready.
You know that I don't like Eagles. You know that I don't like Panthers.
Oh, now I know why you don't like Eagles, because Georgia Southern are the Eagles.
That's not the only reason. That's not
it's
the only
a reason, but not the reason.
Yeah, that's because they bathe in dirty creek water and they love it and they brag about it. No, but the worst mascot in that conference, Cole, are the Texas State Bobcats. Ain't nothing scary about a Bobcat.
Well,
you spend your life out in the woods. There's nothing scary about a Bobcat, especially
You
Cole.
don't think so?
No, especially Cole. When there's an option there, and I know you haven't seen this. It's a football movie. You should see this movie. It's called Necessary Roughness. And in this movie, Texas State were the Armadillos. And that makes sense.
Texas.
Give me the Texas State Armadillos. That movie was huge. Scott Bakula was in it. Kathy Ireland, Sinbad, all these great actors. It's time to rename your school the Texas State Armadillos. So I'm going to say it right here, right now. Texas State, worst mascot in the Sun Belt.
I don't hate that, but I will push back. If I had a run, if you told me, Cole, you better run because there's an eagle coming after you and a bobcat, I'm hightailing it because the bobcat, I'm more scared of the bobcat.
Peck your eyes out.
Well, I can probably shoot the eaglers or, hide
You're going to
from
shoot an eagle.
Well, I just got banned.
Oh, it's coming down at you.
Let me hit the dump button. I just got federally banned from America now because you can't do that, by the way. That's illegal.
No. Go to the Raptor Center in Charlotte. Next time you're up that way, you'll see just how damn big a bald eagle is.
They're huge.
They're
I've seen them in person.
They're
huge.
massive.
I love bald eagle. I just think that there is I'll be honest, I'm scared of a bobcat. I'd run like, you know what?
You jingle some keys or throw a ball. They'll go chase that. They're going to leave you alone. Going over to Conference USA, Cole, it's got to be the Bulldogs, the Louisiana Tech Bulldogs.
Enough of this bulldog hate,
Yeah, no,
man.
this is southwestern Louisiana. You telling me that dog never going to go outside a day in its life?
It's too hot. down
Not
there.
once. It's too hot. It's a genetic disaster.
What school is that, by the way?
Louisiana Tech.
Oh, Louisiana. Man, I
Louisiana
forgot they were
Tech.
I didn't realize they were the Bulldogs.
Yeah,
There's a lot of mascots I don't know. I got to brush off my mascot.
I'm good at mascots. If you try to get me in a mascot challenge, I will win it.
You and these dogs, man. I mean, that's pretty scary right there. I mean, you gonna tell me that's not intimidating? I mean, I'm running. That's a bulldog right there.
You mean a bulldog that's like so fat it can't walk, making that sound? He's making that sound because he's saying, I hate you. Why haven't you killed me? In my life now. Yeah.
Real quick, Bland on X says Delta State definitely has the best mascot.
Delta State are they're not are they the Hornets? I know that they have a bug as a mascot. They're not the Yellow Jackets.
Fighting Okra.
No way.
Fighting Okra. That's what it says online. You told me Google's dead. Can't use Google. That's what it says.
It holds holds no candle to the UC Santa Barbara banana slugs.
I like that.
Which were made famous by Pulp Fiction because they wear a UC Santa Barbara T-shirt in that movie.
Bland, am I right on that? Is it the Fighting Okra? Because that's what it says online, man. That's I don't know.
And then there's the Scottsdale Community College Fighting Artichokes.
Fighting Artichokes.
And it literally is an artichoke with it's like fists up, ready to fight.
I hate that.
Yeah. The MAC Eagles again. The Emu Eagles. Who decided that was a good one? Emu Eagles, Eastern Michigan. You got the Chippewas in there. You got the Broncos. You got mascots up there that make sense. The Huskies, but no, they went with the Eagles, the Emu Eagles.
It's just so generic. You know?
Exactly. So see,
I'm not
you're coming around.
Hater.
You're coming around to my thoughts on Georgia Southern and Boston College and all the other teams. At least Southern Miss had the forethought to say we're not going to be just the Eagles. We're going to be the Golden Eagles.
I like Golden Eagles.
That's better.
If you told me
better.
Listen, I'm not an Eagle. I'm not anti-Eagle, but if you tell me there's like 20 Eagle mascots, 20 teams with mascots as Eagles, then I may change my mind.
And then last one on the list here, Cole, we got to go out to the Mountain West, the Utah State Aggies, because Texas A&M already did it. And they look like a bunch of Johnny-come-latelys. You say Aggies, and everybody immediately goes Texas A&M. It's time to change it.
You don't like Aggies?
No, it's dumb.
I love Aggies.
And let me guess, they're probably their logo is a bulldog because nobody can think of anything better than that.
No, it's not. It's not a bulldog.
Probably.
Buddy of mine said, look up Rhode Island School of Design's mascot. I just looked it up. Oh my God.
Funny challenge. Name every mascot that doesn't end with an S.
Oh my God. Guess what at Rhode Island School of Design?
The ants?
No. I can't say it.
Say it.
No, it's a male body part. Look.
Oh God.
My buddy Todd sent me that. That's terrible. That's terrible. Made me look it up. Now I'm never gonna unsee that again. Jeez.
So they're the Rhode Island weenies.
Oh yeah, that's
the
one
Rhode Island weenies.
Yep.
Texter, to your question, Wolfpack. We got the.
What was the question?
The question was from the texter. Name every mascot that doesn't end with an S. This comes from Bobby.
Oh, that's hard.
Yeah, we mentioned the Stanford Cardinal, the Wolfpack. You've got
Bulldog.
No, not the Bulldogs.
Bulldog.
Yeah, there's no school whose mascot is just Bulldog.
Duck. Duck. We're gonna go plural.
Ducks.
I mean, come on. You want to go plural and ruin it?
The Fighting Illini. That's one.
Yeah.
The Syracuse Orange. That's another one. Alabama Crimson Tide.
Without an S. That's a good question.
Without an S. I think there's somewhere in the range of like 12 or 15 of them.
That's a good question.
It's like off the top of my head, getting 5 or 6 of them.
It's not bad. Better
it's
not.
Not bad.
No. I would probably be able to name 0. We'll continue the mascot conversation later on. Daily Wires, we call them that because they are your headlines. We'll give them to you next.
This is
If you missed the last segment where we ranked the worst mascots in each conference, you can go back and listen on the Odyssey app. It's the Rewind feature. Also, that link is on Twitter. As of about a minute ago, you can go listen to that last segment on X at the Fan Upstate is where you can find us on Twitter. He's at Diesel on Radio on X, and I am at the Cole Bryson. Give us a follow and a shout out there. We'll follow you back as well. It's time now for the Daily Buzz.
Bzzz.
Is that the Hornet mascot doing that, or is that Diesel doing
Yeah, I was thinking of Delaware State, not Delta State.
it? Delaware's the Hornets?
Delaware State are the Hornets.
The Hornet. I'm a Hornet fan. Not to go back down the rabbit hole, but I like the Hornets. All right.
Did you know that USC Sumter? I didn't even know there was a USC Sumter.
Yeah.
Or the Fire Ants.
I'd heard Fire Ants. I just didn't remember they were USC. It was USC Sumter. It's a good baseball program, by the way. Daily Wires, getting you caught up on what's happened in the world of sports. This is a very short segment. Boston won their 18th franchise NBA title last night, defeating the Dallas Mavericks 106-88. All-American athletes will walk out in Paris opening ceremonies in blue jeans. Diesel, you put this one on the rundown. This is what is this Polo Ralph Lauren getting involved now with the Olympics?
Yeah, Ralph Lauren, big company. Their new senior brand manager, David Lauren, which would be Ralph's son, says, quote, "Nothing says America like blue jeans, especially when we're in Paris. It gives the athletes a chance to feel a sense of a culture, but also feel like themselves and
It's
what is
different?
natural." No, it sounds stupid. It's stupid to come out in blue jeans. Now they're gonna be wearing like
Money talks, baby.
Yeah, they're gonna be wearing like striped, white and red striped shirts with a blue blazer on top, so they're gonna look like an American flag.
Yeah,
but just blue jeans. I mean,
not a fan.
It feels low rent, man. It feels like they're barely trying.
This is a little bit of sad news here, but an unidentified man in Maryland shot and killed one adult and injured a 5-year-old after an altercation at a youth football game. This was what, over the weekend? Are you kidding me? Youth football games now turning
under
into
7
shootouts.
It was an under 7 football.
That's pitiful.
Game.
Pitiful. A quick update on the Daily Wires. Florida State is rolling over North Carolina 7-1, top of the 5th inning. Speaking of Omaha, Tennessee leads the Rocco's Jello Shot Challenge. They are rolling. The Volunteers not only rolling on the field, but also rolling in the Jello Shot Challenge.
I'm going to get you a current update on the Jello Shot. So this came out 2 hours ago. Let's see here. Tennessee has bought 9,681 shots. Texas A&M is right behind them at $85.96.
That is $48,405 of Jello shots by Tennessee fans.
That is a lot of money. That's a lot of alcohol abuse.
That's ridiculous, is what that is.
The good thing is a lot of this money, it doesn't go just to Rocco's Bar. It goes to support food banks and charities.
It should.
Yeah, I mean, they probably keep just enough money to cover their costs on the shots plus a little bit more, but a majority of it does go to charity. So it's actually a really good cause.
Yesterday, NC State was eliminated by the Florida Gators. Texas A&M defeated Kentucky 5-1. UNC Florida State's going on right now, as I just updated you. 7 o'clock tonight, Florida, Kentucky. I'm super stoked about this one, Diesel. Elimination game. This one should be really good.
Can anybody take the Florida Gators out?
I think there's a team out there that can do it. Unfortunately, Florida's not playing that team tonight. I think Tennessee can do it, Yeah. Kentucky they might could. I mean, listen, Kentucky has the pitching, right? Like, when you play Florida, you got to have some arms. I don't know if their arms are going to match up in today's game for it to be Kentucky's best arms, but it should be interesting. Stanley Cup Game 5 tonight. Oilers won 8-1 in the last game. This could be the end of the NHL season as well. Phil Steele, Diesel, his 2024 college football preview magazine is out, so you can see that. Phil Steele does a good job with that. Jake Paul has announced he will fight Mike Perry on July 20th, the date he was originally supposed to fight Mike Tyson. That fight has been rescheduled for November.
I don't know that fight's ever going to happen.
I don't think it will.
I think Jake Paul saw Mike Tyson in his training and said, nope, I don't want anything to do with that.
In the last Daily Wire, Ole Miss Southern Cal series, originally scheduled for 2025 and 2026, has been canceled. A little college football news there for you.
Boo. Come on. The Lane hate train. We could have had Lane Kiffin's new school and Lane Kiffin's old school. If only they can get Tennessee together and have a jamboree.
And
live for all of us.
Madcraft updated us on the stream that the game tonight has been postponed until tomorrow morning. The Kentucky baseball game, I believe he's talking about.
They got weather coming in or something in Omaha?
Or horses.
Maybe, yeah.
Yes, it has. Well, let me make sure. I believe you, Madcraft. I believe you. So, listen, our Tolos, they're plugged in.
They're on it.
They're plugged in.
Yes, they are. Hey, coming up next on the show, we heard a rumor yesterday, Cole. We got a text from a listener that something big was going down at South Carolina. I'm going to share that rumor with you, spread what we know about it, and then get into some of the biggest and best hoaxes in major sports history. That's on the other side of the break right here on the Fan Upstate, 97.7 FM in Greenville, 97.1 FM in Spartanburg, and everywhere you are on the free Odyssey app. Look at Mad Craft coming through with poignant, topical, on-time information. Shared with us a few minutes ago, right before we went off to break, that tonight's game is going to be postponed until tomorrow morning.
He gets the crown for the day.
Yep, he gets the crown. He told us exactly where the information came from. This comes from the verified NCAA baseball Twitter account. Weather update due to impending weather. Game 10 has been postponed to tomorrow, Wednesday, June 19th at 10 a.m. Central Time. Gates will open at 9. Box office will open at 8 a.m.
Bunch of wussies, man. Play in the rain. Come on.
I mean, from what we're seeing right now, the weather looks beautiful in Omaha.
And there's probably a big black cloud right behind as a stadium,
Yeah.
I guess. I don't know. I just, is it going to be torn? I mean, it must be bad for them to already have called it.
Yeah, knowing them though, they're going
They've
to
got
get
Jim
almost
Cantori
nothing.
up there, I believe. Jim
Yeah,
Cantori's
exactly.
up there.
He's going to be out there faking just how bad the weather is. I mean, there's nothing better in my mind as far as viral videos, Cole, than Jim Cantori and other weathermen like him
Nothing better.
out at really terrible sites where there's a hurricane going on or something, and they're doing this lean thing where it looks like they're leaning against the wind.
Yep.
And then some dude in flip-flops is walking his tiny little dog behind the screen. Oh yeah, that does look bad.
Some weather coming.
They sent us off to a drone shot where you could see straight over center field, and there's a big old blob of dark weather, dark rain, dark clouds coming in Omaha. But I appreciate Mad Craft.
Yeah, man.
For sending us some good information. And I want to juxtapose that call and compare that to a rumor that was texted into our show yesterday. This is mid-show, towards the latter half of the show, where a texter told us that he has on good authority from people in the know in the Columbia area that Ray Tanner would be retiring by the end of the year. Retiring by the end of the year, Ray Tanner. Again, I stress, this is a rumor that was shared to us by a listener who just texted in at 71307. We could not verify this in any way, Cole.
I texted two people in Columbia yesterday.
I texted somebody else.
And people. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, you go ahead.
I was just going to say these two people that I texted are actually in Columbia, working very, very closely to the university, and hadn't heard that yet. Again, not saying it's not true. Not saying it is
source
true.
that I texted said the exact same thing. Said he would be completely shocked if that were to come to pass.
He still has 2 years left on his deal.
2 years left on his deal. Has just hired 4 new head coaches in rapid succession. Paul Maneri on the baseball side, Rob Bradley in men's golf, Ashley Chastain for softball, and the one that I know South Carolina Gamecock fans are super proud of and excited for, the new equestrian coach, Carol Gwynn.
They're an equestrian school, man.
Yeah, they are. So it's ludicrous. It's laughable. There has to be some burden of proof from people who want to text in and give us rumors like that. I'm hearing from people in the know.
Yeah, that's why I didn't
mean
even.
anything.
That's why I didn't even read it yesterday.
Yeah, it doesn't mean anything. There's a lot of sports BS out there these days, man. It's really hard. It's really hard to sift through all the crap and figure out what's real and what's not. As a matter of fact, Cole, I saw earlier today that Barstool Sports, their Twitter account, got by a fake news story. They retweeted a fake news story from an account called Richard G. West, who had claimed that a gas station chain in Tennessee had pledged $50,000 to buy 10,000 Jell-O shots from Rocco's to make sure that Tennessee would win the Jell-O shot challenge.
Sure.
And here's where people could tell that it wasn't real, because I'm not sure that this is even logistically possible. They said they were going to transport the Jell-O shots back to Tennessee to be given away at a chain of gas stations that if you use your rewards card, you would get you'd get one of these Jell-O shots.
Sounds legit, right?
Yeah. Now here's the truth.
Not really.
Here's the truth. If this was real, I would 100% go and buy one. Right? Wouldn't you?
They fell for that?
They fell for that.
God.
It was like it was an account called
station.
Wegmans gas station or something like that. And then this gas station chain had to come out and say, no. That's not real. We didn't pledge to do that. But now, don't you feel like they should?
No,
Man,
no,
don't you feel like
no,
they
no, no,
should?
no, absolutely not. Screw them.
You don't want to. You don't think they should give into the peer pressure
Don't cave
of a
in.
$50,000 donation? I mean, I don't know how big this chain is, but I mean, it's $50K is a lot of money to anybody. But how badly do you want to see your Tennessee Volunteers win this shot challenge,
What do you
knowing that
get out
Texas
of it?
A&M, you get a lot of press. You get essentially, I mean,
For being
I'm sure,
drunks.
yeah, I'm sure there's like if you do this, you can consider it a charitable donation and save money on your taxes and all those things. But like, wouldn't you? Let's just say, for the sake of argument here for a minute, that Clemson was in Omaha, and Clemson, like, let's just say Stuart Spinks said, "Hey, I'm going to throw $50K at Rocco's, and we're going to get these Jell-O shots back to South Carolina, and we're going to sell them in our Spinks stores."
That'd be 10,000 Jell-O shots,
Yeah.
by the way. That's nuts.
I mean, logistically, I don't know how you would get 10,000 Jell-O shots. I mean, like, they're not really a Rocco's Jell-O shot if they're not made at Rocco's, right?
Yeah, I guess you're right.
Like, you could add vodka to any Jell-O shot, but it's not a Rocco's Jell-O shot.
By the way, quick update: 3-run home run by North Carolina. It is now 7-4. Florida State still leads. We are now in the bottom of the 5th inning, but it is now a 3-run game. It's 7-4, Florida State on top.
So the gas station buying all these shots, 10,000 Jell-O shots, that is a hoax, Cole. And I want to know from you, the Tolos, what is your favorite hoax, your favorite cheating scandal in sports? I got a couple that are special and near and dear to me that I think are really interesting and fun. I want to hear from you, Tolos, 71307. Start your text with keyword fan. What's your favorite hoax in sports? I'm going to start with the big one that I remember very, very vividly. Was the Manti Te'o and his fake girlfriend, Lene Kukua. Now, that story blew up at the time, and it was embarrassing. I mean, like, I came from the exact right time. I think I'm like right at the same age as Manti Te'o, where like meeting people online was still a new thing, and you didn't really know to protect yourself from the sense of like, this person may not be the person that they say that they are, right? Like, I came up with a generation where you would join chat rooms and just talk to random people, Yahoo chats, right?
Mm-hmm.
It was a thing. You just did it, and never considered that the person that I was talking to, or I thought I was talking to, wasn't the person I was talking to. But Manti got.
That's a pretty good one. I like that one. Mine would be my top one would be Bishop Sycamore.
Oh yeah,
that one to me, man. There's nothing that can top. Listen, the Manti Te'o girlfriend that doesn't exist. That one's fantastic. It really is.
That documentary made Manti look really stupid, though.
Oh, for
sure. That documentary that came out about 4 years ago.
Yeah, it's not good, but Bishop Sycamore, man, like, that's just laughable. And I don't know that I'll ever see anything again in sports like that.
I had to go back and refresh myself because I put this one on my list as well. I had to go back and refresh myself on everything that went down with the Bishop Sycamore saga, because it was a lot.
It was, man.
Like, so it was a fake high school who got on television and was playing marquee games against big schools, IMG schools like that. But Bishop Sycamore didn't actually exist. But they had a football team, and they were holding practices on the campus of Ohio State University. So they were able to attract some student athletes to come there and play. So they were able to pull the wool over the eyes of some young athletes who wanted to go play at a prep school like IMG in Ohio, which school didn't exist. The coach's name sounds like a bogus football coach. The coach's name was Leroy Johnson.
What was great about it is that Max Prep showed Bishop Sycamore as being based out of Columbus, Ohio, in an online-only charter school. The school's website, which is fantastic, has a blank page. Like, when you went to the website and you clicked About Us, it was just a blank page. There was nothing mentioned of education. They did have, like, one blog, but it was – that to me, man, it's an all-time great.
They were famous for bringing in kids who were like 21, 22 years old playing high school football. So there were kids who were way older than high school age playing on the team. There was no physical campus. and they got on ESPN. They were playing the biggest prep schools in the country.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just absurd what Bishop Sycamore but the question is why? Why would you do that? Like somebody
question.
went to a lot of effort to make a lot of people look really stupid.
Yeah, and not even to be sanctioned by a state.
Yeah.
Like just completely fake.
That's a bad one.
You're not going to top that one. I hope you have some really good ones because it's not going to top the Bishop Sycamore for me.
I am big. I'm a big fan of cheating in Major League Baseball because I love seeing the player with a little smudge right there on the bill of his hat, something like that. Do you know who Joe Niekro is?
No, I don't think so.
He was a pitcher from the late 70s, early 80s. He was a knuckleball pitcher. He was famous for being a knuckleball pitcher, and he pitched in I think at least one World Series, but he was busted with an emery board in his pocket, like the little board you used to file down your nails.
Yeah.
So he had one of those in his pocket. Players on the opposing team, Cole, called him out for doctoring the ball. This happened in 1987. They called him out for doctoring the ball. The umpire goes out onto out to the mound and says, "All right, Joe, empty your pockets." And they find this emery board in his pocket. I mean, I just wonder, how does that even work? Like, you can't pull this thing out of your pocket and rub a baseball against it and put it back in your pocket. So, like,
it's got to be really small.
I'd have to see what happened here. Did he like cut like a tiny little hole? And by the way, like, baseball pants don't have side pockets; they just have back pockets, right?
Uh-huh.
So, like, did he cut a tiny little hole in the pocket and then he would like rub the baseball on his butt just a little bit, trying to dry the baseball off before he threw his next pitch, and he would just scuff it just a little bit?
Couple of texts I want to get to real quick. Hunt GPT says Manti Te'o's girlfriend for him.
Yeah.
As Diesel said a minute ago. Texter from the 203 says number 1, Bishop Sycamore. Also, another text from the 203 says, I'll give you an unconfirmed rumor. I may or may not have gotten absolutely hammered at a work event.
Attaboy.
Thanks for the unconfirmed rumor, 203. We appreciate that. God.
That's a good one.
Only our Tolos, man. Only us.
And then Cole, I look at this one because this one was played out over international lines. The entire East German Olympic team getting busted for systematically doping thousands of athletes without their knowledge.
Gee,
this was still in the 80s before the Berlin Wall came down, right? And the East Germans,
unbelievable.
The East Germans, it was a tiny country compared to the U.S. and compared to the Soviet Union, but the East Germans went from winning a small number of medals in the Olympics to like doubling the number of medals that they won and winning a disproportionate number of gold medals. And it was because the East German Olympic team the doctors were doping all of the athletes without their knowledge. So like the whole country, we look at trans athletes playing in sports today. That's what the entire women's Olympic team looked like for East Germany.
That's nuts.
They were all just jacked, built like linebackers.
That is nuts.
It was crazy.
That's nuts. Quick scoring update, by the way. North Carolina still is at bat. They have not gotten that third and final out. Florida State's not gotten that third and final out as of yet. We are still in the top of the bottom of the fifth. And Florida State has one more out. North Carolina has 2 runners on. It's still 7-4. Florida State leads North Carolina. Again, the Tar Heels have 2 runners on, but they do have 2 outs.
Madcraft laughs and says, nobody questioned the fact that the Bishop Sycamore players weren't going to class.
They didn't know anything about them. They just showed up.
Well, I mean, look, it may be even you may still be able to pull something like that off. I mean, we talk about the new schools, the charter schools that are coming in.
Yeah, I thought about that.
To Spartanburg County, and they're all building their curriculum in new and creative ways, right? So what's to stop any school from saying, guess what? We're not going to do any in-person learning. Everything's going to be at home, but we are going to bring athletes together to play a sport. I mean, there's nothing that says they couldn't do that.
No.
It would be like an entire roster made up of homeschool kids.
School.
Online
They already do
kids.
that. I mean, the homeschool kids are already online.
Yeah.
They don't sit at home and do nothing all day and say, oh, we were homeschool. Sorry.
71307. What are your favorite scandals, hoaxes, cheating situations that you've ever seen in sports? Whatever you got, hit us up. 71307. Start your text with keyword fan. You can also message us on Facebook, Twitter, or YouTube.
North
on the
Carolina
stream.
base hit and adds one more, so it's now 7-5.
They've got the go-ahead run at the plate, 2 on, 2 out. Bottom of
Yep.
the 5th.
So North Carolina, man, they're not done yet. Quick
Come on and raise
programming
up.
note: in just a few moments, we'll be joined by Kane Swinney. Who is Kane Swinney? Well, I'm glad you asked. Kane Swinney is the new baseball coach at USC Upstate. We'll have him on in the very next segment. If you didn't know, Mike McGuire, who was the former baseball coach at USC Upstate, took a job at Winthrop. So keeping it local, we'll have the new baseball coach on for you. Hunt GP on the text line says another one for y'all, the MLB steroid scandal of the late 2000s. That's a good one. Texter from the 441 says Diesel was Manti Te'o's girlfriend. Can you confirm or deny that?
With my complexion, you guys, I couldn't pass as somebody with the last name Kukua. Sorry.
Kakua. Was that her name?
Yeah, Lene Kukua.
I like that. That's
and it
a
was
creative.
a dude the whole time.
Jeez.
It was a dude the whole time. And the sad thing about that whole scandal, I don't know. I don't know if Manti and Lene's conversations turned romantic, sexual, whatever. But the fact that he was talking to a dude this whole time, and it came out right before the national championship.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember having a guest on my show on the Planet, and this guy would call in. He called himself Roll Tide, and he called in one time, dead convinced that this whole thing was a hoax to get sympathy votes for the Heisman. He's like, he knew that that his team, that Notre Dame, was not going to win the national championship that year.
Yeah.
So he was trying to stack the deck, win the Heisman Trophy, get sympathy votes for it by pretending this whole girlfriend thing.
You got to do what you got to do, right? You got to do what you got to do.
And then
he
he didn't pan out in the NFL. Like, he was one of the bigger busts that I remember in a long time in major sports, because he was everywhere. He was Tim Tebow before Tim Tebow, right? Just like that positive role model, positive person. Everything was pointing in the right direction for him. There weren't any scandals around him until this happened.
Yep.
And then, man, he couldn't get it done. And where did he go? San Diego, I think.
Continue to get your thoughts in 71307. Start your text with the word fan. We're also live on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube each and every single day. Quick programming note: we will be not on air. We will not be on air tomorrow, as it is a company holiday for Juneteenth. So Diesel and I will not be here tomorrow. We'll be back on Thursday. Coming up next, the new USC Upstate baseball coach, Kane Swinney, on the other side.
This is Wire to Wire with Cole, Bryson, and Diesel.
Keeping it local right here in this very segment as we go to Spartanburg, South Carolina, and bring on Kane Swinney. Kane Swinney entered his 5th season as an assistant this past season, and just a couple of days ago was named the head baseball coach of the USC Upstate Spartans. Coach, we appreciate you coming on. How are you, man? Let's try that again, Coach. Let's see. You got us now?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yep, we got you loud and clear.
All right, awesome. No, thanks for having me on. Appreciate it.
Absolutely, Coach. Look, we know that you've been a part of this Upstate offense and this Upstate team for quite some years now. You had a lot to do with the way that this USC Upstate offense was so impactful over the last few years. What's it been like just the last few days as you have now been named the new head baseball coach?
Honestly, it's been a little bit of a whirlwind, but in a good way for sure. My first order of business was to call all of our returning players and all of our incoming players and try to entice them to stay. I guess been very fortunate. I haven't lost outside of one guy. I haven't lost anybody to the transfer portal. So or reopening commitments or anything like that. So very blessed that's been the case so far. Hopefully it stays that way. Also very blessed to keep my staff in order as well. I'm keeping our pitching coach and our assistant pitching coach, Jacob Konderbogen and Nick Hoffman. So those were the first orders of business for me. And obviously after that is trying to get the whole staff together, trying to complete that and, get into the summer, get into the recruiting and try to get good players in here so we can keep winning.
Kane Swinney elevated to the new head baseball coach at USC Upstate, joining us here on Wire to Wire with Diesel and Cole Bryson. Coach, you've been around this league for a number of years now. You know this league top to bottom. Do you think that the Big South, as constructed right now, can have a team that goes and wins it big the way Coastal did a few years ago?
I do actually. I believe the league as a whole has been getting better for the last 5 years. Obviously Campbell departed. And they were a big part of our league. I know they had earned an at-large bid while they were in the league as well. And I think that's the future of this league is somebody else getting that opportunity to be in at-large. I'm hopeful that it's us. That's the plan. I'm planning on scheduling that way and putting things together and trying to win enough games to put ourselves in position to be in at-large. Obviously, if that's not the case, then hopefully go win a Big South championship. But I do think the league as a whole has gotten better. It's changed a lot since I've been here. I felt like my first few years here was very pitching and defense heavy. Over the last year or two, it feels like the offense has started to really kind of come around. So I think at some point you'll see it kind of stabilize to somewhere in the middle, but I know there's a lot of teams in the league that have done a good job and a lot of new coaches around, a lot of fresh faces. So people trying to establish their identities. And I think we're kind of the same way. I think we've been successful. We've been establishing our identity. I don't expect that to change much. The plan is to just go win the championship and see how many we can get.
Coach, what would you say you learned most from Mike McGuire and the time you spent under him?
Well, he's my mentor. I mean, for me, he's been the guy that he came in my sophomore year of college, so I played for him for 3 years at Morehead State. Learned a lot. I feel I owe him a lot in my career as a player, as a coach, and as a person. So he's meant a lot to me personally. He's helped me tremendously in coaching. I know there will be a lot of things that will stay the same because I believe in a lot of the things that he did. There'll be some things that change because there's some things that I've learned along the way that maybe I want to change. But either way, he's meant a lot to me just in that sense that I had the opportunity to play for him. I saw how he treated his players, how much he cared about his players. And then as a coach, getting the opportunity to work for him and understanding what the recruiting stuff looks like, understanding what the other side dealing with administration and stuff like that looks like. So I've learned a lot, and I feel prepared for it because of who I've worked for. Obviously, he's been successful everywhere that he's been, and I really don't expect that to change. I believe he'll be successful at Winthrop as well. I'll have a lot of fun coaching against him for the next handful of years, but that'll be a change. We've always been competing together, and now we got the opportunity to compete against each other for recruits and for wins and losses on the field. It'll be a lot of fun.
How do you anticipate that first matchup is going to go? Do you think you're going to just do what you do best and hope that your team comes out ahead, or do you anticipate scheming against him? Here's what I think he's going to do, so I'm going to do this. How do you see that going?
I think there'll be a lot of mind games being played. No, I mean, I'm sure we still talk. I mean, we've talked every day basically since all of this has happened. So obviously our relationship is really good. I anticipate that we'll talk a lot about our programs and stuff moving forward. Maybe not giving too much insight, but just some general details. And when we go play, I think we're just going to go play and let our boys compete and let the boys fight it out, and hopefully we come out on top.
Coach Kane Swinney, the new head baseball coach at USC Upstate. Coach, for anyone listening, that might be a high school or even younger baseball player here in the Upstate, what would Kane Swinney's recruiting pitch be to come play baseball for you and Upstate?
Well, to me, we've established ourselves as a program that wins consistently, and I think there's a lot to be said for that. Everybody enjoys winning. Nobody likes losing. But I think you're getting a guy, you're getting a coach that's going to care about you as a player, and care about your development, care about you on a personal level, and trying to get the most out of you so you can reach your goals and dreams as a player. I tell guys all the time when I have conversations with players that every guy that comes through the door here wants to play professional baseball. And I want that for each and every guy. Realistically, we understand that's not going to happen for every guy, but my job as a coach is to put you in a position to grow as a player and as a person. And that's something that I truly believe in. And I think we've done a good job of establishing that here, that, we care a lot about our guys. I think you see it in, when guys come into the office and just chat with you when they're going home for the summers and stuff like that. They understand that we make them a priority. The players are always going to be the priority here. You can't win without players. I believe that the players drive the program. The players drive our success. It doesn't matter how good of a coach I am. I got to get good players in, and I got to get them to buy into what I want them to believe in, and go out there and do everything that they can to win championships for the program that I'm at. And obviously at USC Upstate, that's the plan moving forward. I mean, I want guys in here that want to win, that want to be a part of our development, and that are committed to being here. And that's obviously something new in today's day and age with the transfer portal and everything going on. A lot of guys are looking for new homes. In our case, we've been very fortunate that we've been able to hold on to a lot of really good players because they love what we do here. And that means a lot to me as a coach.
Yeah, Coach, you talked about, I want you to expand on that just a little bit, talking about identity that you mentioned earlier. In your mind, what does your ideal squad makeup look like? Are you 80% high school recruiting, 20% transfer portal, or do you want to kind of do things the way the other Swinney down the road in Clemson does things and go all high school and hang on to them as best you can?
No, it's a blend. It's a blend for us. We've done a lot of high school stuff. We've done a lot of junior college stuff. We have dabbled in the portal, but it hasn't been a ton. Like even this year, we don't have a player committed to us out of the transfer portal. And that's not saying that we won't add somebody at some point, but if you look at our roster makeup right now, it's about 50-50 high school kid to junior college kid. And I think it'll stay that way. Obviously a junior college kid has more experience playing collegiate baseball and has a good understanding of maybe what their growth and development needs to look like. High school kids, maybe not so much, but that gives you kind of a fresh platform to kind of instill some beliefs in them and help guide them along their careers as well. And like I said, I mean, guys entering the transfer portal and stuff like that, it's been a crazy time. It's something you have to adjust to as a coach. So for me, it's trying to get guys to buy into our culture, believe in what we believe in, and everybody pushing in the same direction to try and reach your ultimate goal. And I think we've done a good job of that here. I don't expect that to change, and I think that's part of the reason I'm so excited about our future as a program is, when you're able to keep your staff together and keep all the guys that you've recruited together, it means a lot. It means a lot. And obviously it's exciting for us to kind of go into it expecting that we have a team that's ready to compete for championships in year one.
Coach, I want to ask you, do you take it personally when a player chooses to leave your roster and go into the transfer portal? I mean, you got to think that it's hard not to, especially somebody that you've put time and energy and love into. Is it hard not to take that personally?
It is. It is. And I think that's part of being a coach is having an understanding of the player's side as well. And that's something that I've tried to remind myself of along the way. I've had the opportunity to play at a lot of different levels, and I've had success and failures at all those different levels. I'm not so far removed from playing that I haven't forgot what it feels like to be 0 for 4 and stuff like that. So I think that's part of being able to effectively communicate with your players, but also, it's hard. It's hard not to take it personal, but at the same time, when I'm recruiting guys, I try to tell them in the recruiting process, ultimately I want to do what's best for your career. I'm always going to try to put you in a position to be successful. So if these guys believe that it's in their best interest for their futures and their careers to enter the transfer portal and see what's out there, who am I to tell them otherwise? I guess that's kind of the way I've started approaching it. And, I think our guys know that I'm looking out for their careers at the end of the day. And I think that's why so many guys are staying put here at Upstate.
Coach Kane Swinney joining us on the Fan Upstate. We appreciate you taking time to join us, Coach. I want to ask you about an interesting statistic. I know that in 2023, you helped Upstate have one of the most prolific offenses to date. However, in 2022, under your direction, you helped the team set the program record for times being hit by a pitch at 103. I mean, I know that our goal is to get guys on base, but how in the world did you come up with this? How are you able to be so successful at getting your players to be hit by a pitch?
Honestly, it's not something that we work on every day in practice or anything like that. So it's kind of crazy that it worked out that way. I think a lot of it, we get junior college guys from all over the country, and some of those guys come from programs where you kind of get penalized if you move feet. Maybe you got to run a lap around the field or whatever. So our guys kind of learn that, hey, I'm not bailing. If there's a pitch in there that I can get hit by and get on base for free, I'm going to take my opportunity. And I think that comes with just kind of a toughness in general with some of our guys. I mean, if you look at our roster, it's a lot of kids from tough areas of the country, and that's something that I like. I like that toughness, the mental toughness, the physical toughness, not being afraid to get hit by a pitch, but just guys that love competing. And I want guys that want to compete, that want to win. I mean, if you get guys like that in your program, your chances of having success are much higher.
Coach, I want to get your thoughts on a proposed change stemming from the recent House versus NCAA settlement. I don't know exactly where this is, but I've heard it rumored that would allow schools to fully fund roster limits instead of a scholarship limit, where baseball programs have to split 11.5 scholarships now, and would allow schools that choose to, the SEC schools of the world and who can afford to fully fund every scholarship on their roster if that's what they want to do. And I want to know your thoughts of how something like that would and could affect schools like yours with a smaller budget.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot of ways that it can go. I think you're seeing it now. The landscape in college baseball and in college athletics as a whole is changing basically daily. I don't know what the future holds. I think at some point you'll see the NCAA will kind of come out with some regulations and standards, I think, on some stuff to try and help everybody have a better understanding of what's actually going on. A lot of it right now it almost feels like just kind of free reign. The schools that have the most money can do a lot more than the schools that don't have a lot of money. And we're one of those schools that, isn't the most funded school in the country. You know what I mean? So for us, it's trying to establish that. I think it starts, like I was talking about earlier, it starts in the relationship process. We have to be able to build good relationships with our players to get players into our program. We're not going to be like some of these SEC schools that can offer a lot of money and NIL deals and stuff like that. So, but like I said, I mean, you're seeing the landscape change every day. You just like us, I mean, we're trying to figure it out on the fly. So hopefully we get some regulations and stuff in place here soon that at least help us have a better understanding of what it's going to look like moving forward.
Coach, my last question for you. For those that don't follow USC Upstate baseball as closely as you do, obviously being the coach and have been an assistant for some time now, who are some guys that you tried to get back or are still waiting on to get back for the 2024 season, some guys that you feel like should be big pieces of your roster next year?
So I actually have had some calls with some guys today, and we're getting some of our key freshmen back, which is really exciting. We had our freshman of the year, Vance Sheehan, who played third base for us this past year. I expect that he's got the opportunity to earn the shortstop job this season. He's back. I talked to him today. Couple arms are back: Braden Council, Cooper Ellingworth, Darren Kuski. All three incredibly talented arms that all have chances to be pros. High velocity guys, good pitchability guys. So I'm really excited about those four guys in particular. Our everyday second baseman last year, Jake Armsey, is returning. So, and Tyler Lang, our catcher, he's returning as well. So, I mean, we definitely have guys in place that, have been big adds. Some guys that we're waiting to hear from, and most of these guys are in the transfer portal or looking to go pro, or guys like Kobe Croft, Jace Reinhardt, and Trent Hodgson. Those are guys to me that all have the opportunity to be professionals, hopefully come July. And they all entered the transfer portal to hopefully put themselves in a better position to be pros. And I can't blame them for that. If it's an opportunity of a lifetime for them, and I'm not here to force them to stay somewhere that they don't want to be. So, and it's not that they don't want to be here; it's that they feel like they have the opportunity to make more money in the draft, and it's good for them. So, at the end of the day, I'm going to try to do what's best for the players.
Coach Kane Swinney, head baseball coach at USC Upstate. Coach, I want to ask you, in what ways has USC Upstate finding success against big programs? I'm thinking back to last year when you beat Clemson. How has that really helped in recruiting? How effective of a tool is a big win like that for you?
Oh, it's huge. It's huge. I mean, and I think it shows. We talk to recruits all the time about, we're going to play a challenging schedule, and we're going to do that every single year. And it's for them to showcase themselves in front of a bigger audience, a bigger crowd, as well as get USC Upstate on the map. I want to get USC Upstate on the map nationally. I think we've done some things that have allowed us to get some national recognition, but I want to expand on that in the future and obviously earn more wins. But I think that comes with playing a lot of different opponents. I mean, we've beaten Clemson, we've beaten South Carolina, we've beaten Georgia Tech. We've beaten a lot of really good opponents, and we're not afraid to play a challenging schedule. But when you look at the recruiting side of things, I mean, that's what these kids want to do. I mean, they want to go play the who's who of college baseball. And for us as a program, if we're going to establish ourselves as national contenders and teams that can compete for championships consistently, we got to go play those guys and find out where we stack up. And at this point, I feel like we're a program that's been on the rise, and it feels like a good time for us to kind of knock the door down and make some serious noise across the country. So we're going to continue to play a schedule like that to put ourselves in position to be best prepared when we go to a regional. And hopefully that's happening in the next year.
Hey, Coach, you got a College World Series pick for us?
Hey, we played Kentucky. We played Kentucky opening weekend. I think a lot of their program and what they do. I think they are the team that is best built to win in Omaha. A lot of pitching and defense with a lot of scrappy hitters in their lineup. So that if you would have asked me a couple days ago who my pick was, I would have picked Kentucky.
There you go.
Yeah. Last question for me, Coach. Are there any plans for USC Upstate to team up with the Spartanburgers and the new stadium that's coming to downtown Spartanburg? Any chance to show off your talents in their stadium?
Yeah, I hope so. I hope so. I think that's kind of been a conversation piece, at least here on campus. I think that's something that we're definitely interested in. I know we've played some games at Fluor Field in the past. Would really like to continue the relationship with Fluor Field, but also expand on another relationship here with the team in Spartanburg. So anytime we got a chance to play at a minor league park, it's a really cool experience for our guys, and that's something I definitely want to do moving forward.
Well, Coach, congratulations on the new job. Go out there and give them hell, my friend.
Thanks, Coach. We appreciate you.
Absolutely, guys. Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Yes, that is Kane Swinney, the new head baseball coach of the USC Upstate Spartans. Diesel, a little bit of a panic, but no reason to panic. Florida State had the bases loaded.
Yeah.
And North Carolina just got out of it without allowing a single run. So it's still 7-5 right now to end that inning. But fantastic stuff there by Kane Swinney.
The continuity that USC Upstate is able to keep going there with that program, elevating staff from within, it sure as heck helps, in this day of the transfer portal where a coach leaves and half the roster wants to take off.
Yeah,
it means everything for a program. And I wonder if we're going to start seeing that more often, Cole, if we're going to start seeing more programs elevating staff from within to try to keep their players and their roster intact, because you certainly don't want to start all over again and build a whole new roster just because you've hired a new head baseball coach. So we appreciate his time.
And you got to have good assistants, right? Like in order to elevate those guys when it comes time, in order to elevate the assistant coaches, you have to have good assistant coaches. And a guy like Mike McGuire, Diesel, who was a very good baseball coach, put good assistants around him so that when the time came, to your point, they could make a very easy transition. You got to have good assistants as well.
And I love the fact that USC Upstate schedules locally. They schedule aggressively. Looking back at their schedule over the past couple of seasons, man, I'm seeing Michigan State, Northwestern, Clemson, South Carolina, Cincinnati, James Madison. I appreciate the fact that Clemson and South Carolina both are willing to schedule USC Upstate, even though USC Upstate does more often, or does very often get the better of those programs. So It means a lot to the local economy to keep those keep those games happening. When we come back, Cole, I want to ask you personally, and you, the Tolos, could you manage to date a professional athlete with all the things they've got to deal with? Could you make that happen in your life? That's coming up next on the Fan Upstate. Look at Chris Phillips all over it, posting a screenshot of the future weather radar for Omaha. Both of us are like, what's the big deal? It's just some clouds coming at you. Those of you watching on the stream, I'm going to turn my phone around. This is Chris Phillips' shot. That's what's coming at Omaha at 6:30 later tonight. So they are going to
So that's why the game got postponed.
absolutely pounded. Yeah, that's why the game got postponed to tomorrow. It's not if it's coming, Cole. It's that it's coming, and it's going to be big.
You know what, though? Tomorrow, they said 10 a.m., a little 10 a.m. baseball.
Yeah.
I like it.
I've been to a 10 a.m. football game
Hey,
and because it was a hurricane coming. It was App State LSU first big home game with a hurricane coming since Katrina, and they weren't messing around.
Yeah. Morning baseball is weird. I went to the Walford baseball game when they played here in Greenville a couple of weeks ago in the SoCon tournament, 9 a.m.
That feels wrong, right?
It's early.
Were they selling
Yeah.
beer?
Oh, yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Hey, don't let early first pitch get in the way of a good time. Cole, you and I both know that athletes are not really living a 9-to-5 type of lifestyle.
They're not?
No.
What? You're telling me new news
It is an all day, every day kind of thing when it comes to being a professional athlete. And I just wonder, Cole, from you and from the Tolos, when you consider all of the things that female athletes in general, but female athletes have to go through, the travel, the lifestyle, the time apart from them, could you actually date a pro female athlete? Like, and I don't mean like you go out on a date one time and then it's over. I mean like legitimately trying to date them. Could you do it?
Well, if you're telling me they make bucos of money, are you kidding me? I mean, what's the question here?
I mean, Caitlin Clark only makes 75. That's not that much money.
From the WNBA. Yeah. And then she makes another $1 million. Listen, it'd be challenging. But if you love somebody, you love somebody, right?
Yeah. I mean, like they'd always be working out.
Yeah.
They'd always be studying the playbook.
Probably working out more than you. So
yeah,
if you have a lot of men have issues with like dating women who are more in shape than they are.
I don't.
So
I don't.
You know,
I totally could.
So I'm just saying.
Yeah. Plus, I mean, you'd only get to be with that person. Like you'd only really get that person during their off season. That's like a couple of months out of the year. I don't know how wives of athletes do it. I understand there's
swipe. That's how they do it. Swipe.
I'm sure there's a considerable amount of infidelity in the athlete relationship space, you know, because you're always on the road. You're never around your wife, your husband, or whatever it is. You gotta get your needs fulfilled somehow. Right. So, hey, when husband's on a long road trip, something like that, you gotta get your own. But yeah, I mean, Cole, I think that would be the most challenging part for me. I mean, if you're like, I can only really be with this person the way that I want to be with that person for 3 months out of the year.
Bland on X, Bland says, depends on that paycheck. JD says, as long as I get the benefits and she's not a weightlifter, let's go. You have to be ready for the lifestyle.
No, like, you mean like a weightlifter or a bodybuilder? Depends on what. Those are two very different body types. Two very. You know what I just found out, Cole? I to add a little extra on to the travel thing for WNBA players, they just like less than a month ago announced that all teams are going to be chartering their flights.
Really?
Yeah, like WNBA teams were flying commercial.
Yeah,
these are professional WNBA players having to go through security, do all those things. That's awful.
Yeah, it is. Texter says from the 432, my now wife met me at the end of my career. Let's just say she wouldn't have liked me in my day. She's a saint, says our texter.
What's your career, texter?
Professional baseball player?
Yeah, professional athlete. It sounds like.
Maybe.
Like, tell us, texter, what sport did you play? What level did you play it? That's a fascinating question.
Texter from the 843 asked earlier during the interview, has Citadel hired a new baseball coach yet? I haven't seen if they have. If they have, it's been pretty quiet. I'll look, but I haven't seen a new hire.
On top of all that, Cole, you as a sports radio show host, maybe would be able to do this just a little bit better. But you, Cole, the security specialist, you wouldn't be able to really identify with everything your girlfriend is dealing with on a daily basis as an athlete. Yeah, I mean, there's a reason why athletes date other athletes, right?
Yeah. No, it does make sense. It does make sense. Texter, by the way, said AAA baseball to answer your question.
Oh, okay. Yeah, a lot of time on the road, buses, that kind of stuff. Texter Jacob says, message on Facebook says, this may not be appropriate, but would y'all date Caitlin Clark, or would you prefer the Sparks girl, Cameron? Are you asking us which athlete we think is hotter? Well, that's not a question we're going to answer on this show, Jacob.
Yeah, what do you think this is? Where we sit and talk about hot women for 4 hours a day?
Speaking of hot women, we do have some great audio. We'll get to it at some point in the show today. Audio from Oilers Kate, the woman that went famous for flashing her tatas at the Oilers game. She is now finally speaking out publicly to the masses, not just a podcast, but she's now posting video and talking about things from her perspective. This audio, I think it's going to be a best audio of the week nominee. It's that
there you
good.
go.
We're going to play it later on in the show.
Quick update. Florida State leads North Carolina 7-5, top of the 7th inning. No outs, 2 runners on for the Seminoles. They're looking to add to their lead. In the very next segment, we fight it out as we do each and every day. Well, we've established on this show that Diesel doesn't gamble, but I'm starting to think that Diesel has money on the Florida State game. Is that? Can you confirm or deny that you have cheese?
I have zero cheese on this game. However, Cole, it's frustrating to watch Florida State continue to strand runners in a 7-5 game going into the bottom of the 7th. Florida State left 2 on in this inning. They left 3 on in the previous inning. I mean, they're getting hits, right? They're getting runners on base, getting runners into scoring position.
Just not putting them in.
But they're not capitalizing on it. Florida State, as of right now, has left 10 batters or 10 runners on base. They're 6 of 18 with runners in scoring position. Whereas the UNC Tar Heels are 3 for 5. I mean, there's a reason why UNC's trailing in this game, but they're not stranding runners. They are getting what few base runners they're getting on. They're getting them around. And this is a situation that if you're like me and you pick Florida State to win this thing, it feels like it has echoes of the Tennessee game where you're not able to close it out. You're not able to bring runners around when it really matters.
Just a reminder, you can go back and listen to any segment of Wire to Wire on the free Odyssey app. Use the rewind feature to do that. That's AUDACY. Text line open during the segment 71307. It's the same thing. It's the same fight we do every day, except we switch it up a little bit. It's the 5 o'clock fight.
Picks one winner. It's the 5 o'clock fight on Wire to Wire with Diesel and Cole Bryson on the Fan Upstate.
If this is your first time tuning in, it's the 5 o'clock fight. Every day at 5 o'clock, Diesel and I must disagree. There's not 1, not 2, but 3 rounds in this fight each and every day right here on the Fan Upstate. You, the Tolo, you, the listener, you decide who wins and who loses by texting 71307. That's our text line. Start your text with the word fan. Also, you can comment on the stream. If you're in the stream right now, there's 135 people in there right now. We're live on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. You decide who wins and who loses. It's time for Round
1, fight.
All right, Diesel. This one might create a little bit of controversy. I like it, though.
What?
You put this one on the rundown. Round 1 of today's 5 o'clock fight. We know that Rory McIlroy on Sunday watched Bryson DeChambeau win it, and he swiftly left the clubhouse. He threw his clubs in the trunk, got in, and dashed out of there like Scotty Scheffler dashed into Valhalla. Fair or foul the way Rory left on Sunday?
It's completely fair. It's a highly emotional situation that he was just in. He knows that he just choked away the U.S. Open. He knows that he was that close to winning it. He knows that it's been 10 years since he's won a major. And he knows that if he goes into media availability, he's going to say something he doesn't want to say, right? Something that he doesn't want turned into a soundbite. He knows that he's going to get mad. He knows that he's emotional. So I think it's a good thing to just GTFO.
Just
right?
walk away.
Walk away. Get out of there. Don't give the media what they want. The sound bites and the controversy, just go.
You know what? I hear you. I just do think that I would have liked to seen some sportsmanship, much like we saw when Xander Schauffele won just a month or so ago, and Bryson went out onto the green, or onto the golf course rather, made it very intentional to go shake Xander's hand and let him know that he has his respect, congratulate him, yada, yada, yada. Rory left in Rory fashion, as you said, got the you-know-what out of there. I don't have a major issue with it. I just would have liked to see Rory say, you know what, I at least want to go shake Bryson's hand, tell him congratulations, show a little bit of respect and sportsmanship.
Yeah, I mean, to play devil's advocate, I know it's probably his responsibility. I'm sure there's something in the clause of his contract that says you're required to be available for media. But I mean, like, why not just get out of there without creating the media scene? Yeah, just go. Just walk away.
Listen, I don't have as much problem with him not speaking to the media as I do him just not even giving Bryson like a thumbs up or something like that.
Isn't it interesting how, just 2 weeks ago, we were talking about how Rory has become a crowd favorite, and the fans love Rory McIlroy because of his staunch support of the PGA and anti-live policy or mindset there. But this is one of those situations that could start to tarnish his reputation, right?
It could, but we'll see. Like, I think it's interesting to follow and see if golf fans allow it to or not. 71307, text keyword fan. That way we'll see your message. Let us know who wins round one. It's time for
Round 2, fight.
All right, Diesel, I watched the NBA Finals. I watched the entire game last night, start to finish. It was a blowout, but I had a vested interest. The question is for you and our Tolos, that stands for Turn It On, Leave It On. Does the NBA miss LeBron James in the NBA Finals?
Does the league miss or do the fans miss?
Well, that's a great question. That's a great question.
I'm sure the league says to themselves, wow, if LeBron and his team were in these finals, we could estimate we'd get another 20% more viewership, something like that.
Yeah.
As far as the fans, no, I don't think the fans on the whole really care whether or not LeBron is in the finals. Look, he's coming to the end of his career. We all know this. People got to learn how to move on and enjoy the NBA without LeBron. What do you want him to be out there? 60 years old?
In a walker.
Shooting layups rather than dunking the ball? No, I mean, this league has to move on. It has to move forward. And I don't think the league, the fans as a whole, are really going to miss LeBron not being in the finals.
You're right. The league does have to move forward. I hate to say that, but it does. However, I say no, the fans and the league both miss LeBron James. Numbers show it. The league NBA finals have been down the last few years. LeBron James is not just a star. He is a once-in-a-lifetime superstar that we will probably never see again. It was the same thing that Michael Jordan did for the NBA when he was playing. LeBron brought a lot of eyeballs to the NBA, Diesel. I just don't think that there's a superstar that will bring as many eyeballs. There are stars.
There's a lot of stars in this
Luka,
league.
Kyrie, Jason Tatum, those are stars, right? But LeBron, Michael, Kobe, those were the rare superstars, and that's where I say yes.
Yeah, truthfully, there can only really be one, maybe two superstars in the league max at any given time. I'm talking like tippy top of the iceberg superstars. But in that sense, Cole, I blame the NBA for not marketing its other stars as LeBron's career has started to come to a close. Why are we not seeing?
Well, they tried to, and Ja Morant put a gun in the window.
Why? But do you remember that all the TV commercials used to see with LeBron all over SportsCenter? I'm thinking of the one where Scott Van Pelt stole his king chair and things like that. He was everywhere in marketing for ESPN 20 years ago, 15 years ago.
Yeah.
You don't see that with Jason Tatum or Jaylen Brown or Luka Doncic or Giannis. You don't see those guys all over ESPN the same way that we used to. And maybe it's because our viewership habits have changed and we're not watching linear television anymore.
Could be.
And they have to scatter it across so many different streaming I don't know. But I think the NBA has tried to hang on to whatever star power they can with LeBron as his career comes to an end. And they've done kind of a poor job of promoting the next crop of stars.
Madcraft says that Ja comment was out of pocket, laughing emojis. Literally out of pocket, Madcraft. He pulled it out of his pocket. Literally. All right, I'll stop.
Why would you take a shot at him like that?
All right, well,
did somebody put a gun to your head?
That's good. It's too easy. It's way too easy. All right, let us know who wins round two. Text 71307.
Madcraft's really a pistol today.
He really is. It's time for
Final round. Fight.
All right, I like this one, Diesel. We heard news break the other day that old Bill, the blue chew still works. 72-year-old Bill Belichick is dating 24-year-old Jordan Hudson. They met on a flight on which they formed a connection over a philosophy project. Philosophy project, man, you know what, right? I mean, are you kidding me? So, look, the question is he too old to be dating a 24-year-old Diesel? I mean, I can't wait to hear this answer.
Hell yeah, he's too old. But I still respect the hell out of him for getting it. I mean, it's weird. There's nearly 50 years separating these two. My wife and I are 13 years apart.
And that's a lot.
Like, yeah, it's a lot. I feel like any farther, that's when it starts to get strange, starts to get weird. But like, he is 50 years older than you. There's no way, shape, or form this is anything but a gold digging situation.
No.
Like, is he dating her so that she can be his hospice nurse one day? I'm like, what? Come on, dude. Come on, Bill. I mean, can you imagine Bill showing up to the family barbecue for the first time, and here's somebody that's older than her father, who is now her boyfriend?
Yeah.
Get out of here.
So it was not long ago, Diesel, that we saw ring footage of Bill Belichick leaving a home on his way to work after having a one night stand, it looked like. Bill Belichick is 17,520 days older than Jordan Hudson. What's wrong with that? Are you kidding me? I'll push back and say, no, nothing's wrong with it.
What do they talk about? Does he talk about,
when I was your grandpa's, I mean,
back in my day in the 1960s, we really believed in something.
It's crazy. It's wild. 72-year-old Bill Belichick dating 24-year-old Jordan Hudson. Let us know, 71307.
Like, there's no cultural overlap between them.
Zero.
Whatsoever. Like, all the things that make up the fabric of a good relationship, of having shared experiences and kind of going through life at the same time. None of that.
Bill said, are you going to call me later? And Jordan said, I'll just text you. Bill said, what? You'll do what? What text? What does that mean?
DM me on Snap, because I don't even know what that means.
What? Are you speaking Spanish? All right, let us know if you want to suggest a fight. Many of our Tolos do each and every day. You can do so by...
What do you want Diesel and Cole Bryson to fight about next?
If you've got an ass, I'll kick it.
Submit your topics to Diesel at thefanupstate.com. Subject line, fight on The Fan Upstate.
All right, let us know who wins. Just a quick recap. Round one of the fight was Rory McIlroy throwing his clubs in the trunk and driving off. Fair or foul? I said foul. Diesel said fair. Round two was, does the NBA Finals miss LeBron James? I say yes. Diesel says no. Round three was 72-year-old blue pill Bill Belichick. Is he too old to date 24-year-old Jordan Hudson? Diesel says yes. I say no. What's wrong with it?
He's too damn old, but I respect the hell out of him for doing it. Congratulations, man. Bill.
All right, what we got on the stream, Diesel? Some winners. Okay. Hopefully winners for me, right?
Let's see here. JD says, let's see, negative, you're in bounds. He's talking about me dating somebody or married to somebody who's 13 years younger than me. Let's see here. It says, mess with Diesel and you got called a pistol. Let's see. Shane Barrett, very close, but Cole wins round one. Diesel wins round two. He's tired of LeBron. And round three goes to Diesel. But good for you, Bill. JD says, in regards to dating somebody way older than or younger than you, says the rule is divide by 2 and add 7. So, Diesel, you're in bounds with your wife.
Divide by 2.
No sweep. Diesel wins round 3. He says, reminder that Neil Armstrong, this comes from Madcraft, reminder that Neil Armstrong landed on the moon 65 years ago, which comes close to the age gap between Bill and Jordan.
Jeez. Supposedly landed on the moon. Right?
He says Diesel wins round 3 and takes the win. Jordan asked to Netflix and chill, and Bill got confused. Okay,
That's
here
a
we
good
go.
one. Who said that?
We're devolving
JD?
into this. That comes from JD.
I like that, JD.
Let's see here. Okay. I think I got all the picks there from the stream.
Blue Pill Bill.
Blue Pill Bill.
Is that awful? I mean, are we allowed to say that? Is that awful or what? I mean, come on.
We don't know if it works or not.
Texter says, you guys sure he didn't meet her at the same place? Kraft got the massage. Scotty from BMW. Thank you, Scotty, for the text.
No, do you know how this happened? They were on a flight together, sitting side by side, which is kind of, if they weren't 50 something years apart, that would be an adorable story. Like, isn't that every guy's like,
yeah.
Isn't it like a fantasy of almost every guy to be sat next to somebody on a plane who's very attractive and interesting, and you just like spark up a relationship because it's a love story from a movie.
It is,
and he signed her philosophy homework. That's how they met. Like, he autographed her philosophy homework She didn't have any finger paints that she had done
Good
handy
Lord.
for him to sign. I mean, come on. There's a great SNL bit, Cole, where it's a game show where men meet their second wives. And they're there with their current wives who are still alive, but then they'll bring out somebody and say, here's your next wife. And it's like a 10-year-old girl.
Oh, no.
They're like, no, you're not going to marry her while she's 10. You're going to marry her when she's 18.
Oh, God.
But you're going to be like 50 by then.
That's terrible. That's terrible.
It's fantastic.
JC weighs in on the text line, 71307. Start your text with fan. JC says, clean sweep for Diesel. Whoop, whoop. How about that? Texter from the 432 says, round 3, gotta love little blue pill. Texter from the 464, Diesel wins 2-1. Definitely, NBA definitely needs to market new stars, and Bill is way too old for that poor girl. I'd hate if my daughter came home with some old BA. I'll click the rest of the text.
But what if that guy is Bill Belichick?
That came from Bullwinkle, by the way.
Yeah.
Well, he's rich.
Yeah. What if you didn't know? Like the daughter was just like, hey, Dad, I got a new boyfriend. He's like, oh, that's great, honey. Do I get a chance to meet him? Then she brings him over, and it's Bill freaking Belichick.
Anything wrong with that? I mean, Dad, he has more money than your entire generation of family does, or did.
Big Daddy, when he was like, he's got a 5-year plan. What is it? Don't break a hip?
It's terrible. Alan Baby on the text line says round 1 and 3 goes to Cole. Round 2 goes to Diesel. I finally get a win today from Alan. Appreciate that.
Russell Glover says, I'm 112. Tried to go out with a woman who was 78. She had way too much energy for me, and we just couldn't connect.
112, Russell Glover. That might be some kind of a record there, buddy. You might want to go report that if you really,
Al Baby got it wrong. He took away your win, Cole.
What?
He said, oops, just kidding. Diesel wins round 1 and 3.
You can't do that. What do you think this is? You can't take
What is it? Don't die?
That's 2 days in a row somebody's done that. Yesterday, I forget who it was.
Thank you, Texter, for correcting my quote.
How do you just go back and choose Diesel? No, come on. Texter says the 5-year plan is not to die.
Yeah. What's your 5-year plan? 5-year plan. Don't die. And then I was thinking, zip it or I'll break your hip. So I was combining quotes.
That's terrible, but funny. Terrible, but I never thought, 64. How many, did you say 48 years was the difference? Was that the number? That's a lot of years.
That would be like me right now dating an 88-year-old woman. Dating an 88-year-old woman, or
she have a nice will or something, I guess.
Or being told that I'm going to date somebody who won't be born yet for another 10 years.
Jeez. That is freaking insane.
Oh my God. I mean, look, it's not like it hasn't happened many times before.
I know.
Super old dudes with lots of money dating young hot girls. Anna Nicole Smith. What was his name? The owner of the Clippers.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about.
What's his name? And yeah, he was a racist POS, but whatever.
Yeah, I can't think of. You always ask me these questions. People's name. I don't know his name. I know who you're talking about though. Hey, quick scoring update.
There's a dramatization of his story with Ed O'Neill, Al Bundy. Second time we've had an Al reference.
Yeah, that's
today
bad.
On the show.
That's terrible. We gotta have less of those. I just was about to give a score update, and they went to commercial. I believe it's still a 2-run game in the top of the 8th. Might have been a pitching change or the inning ended, but we'll continue to give you an update on the Florida State, North Carolina game. The Kentucky-Florida game that was supposed to be tonight has been postponed until tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. So we'll watch that one closely on our day off. Reminder.
Thank you, Texter and JD, for getting in on the stream. Both of you told us Donald Sterling was the Clippers owner.
Donald Sterling. Big Don.
Again, it's not like it's an uncommon story.
Yeah.
Old rich dude dates young hot girl. Wow.
Weird,
Stop me if you've heard that one before.
Yeah, really.
When we come back, Cole, let's get back to the Celtics, who just tallied their 18th championship as a franchise. And we'll answer the question, do we believe that the Celtics are set up to build a new dynasty, or are they a one and done? Will this thing be cut off short? We'll get to that next, right here on the Fan Upstate. I think we're in a weird place in our fandom and our ability to consume sports. Unless we're a diehard fan of that team, I think a lot of fans look at a team that only wins one title as a lesser than team. Like if you're not creating little runs or dynasties,
Mini dynasties,
you're not a good team.
well, that's dumb.
It's just dumb, right? Like we have been taught. I mean, you and I have both come up in the world of the Chicago Bulls and their dynasty, and the Lakers and their dynasty, and the Warriors and their dynasty, right? So we are Alabama and their dynasty, Georgia and their dynasty. We have been taught, Cole, that the best of the best teams always build dynasties, right? So I want to look at these Boston Celtics, who, congratulations to you if you're a Celtics fan. Your team just won your 18th title as a franchise, which I believe
surpassed the Lakers.
Surpassed them? I thought that left them 3 behind.
No, I think the Boston Celtics surpassed them.
Is that so? Okay, maybe I misread
sure.
something that
Let me get our intern back here to check that.
Yeah. Where's our fact checker? I thought that the Celtics were still a couple behind the Lakers.
I've been wrong once or twice, but let me see. You might be right. I don't know why I thought that
how many NBA championships do the Lakers have?
I thought that I thought it was tied, but you might be right on that.
The Lakers have 17. So you're right, I guess so. No, sorry, this is
ESPN.com has the Boston Celtics winning their 18th as of last night in 2024, and the Lakers at 17. So Boston went ahead by 1.
How about that?
According to ESPN.com. I think they're right.
Okay. Yeah, they would know. They would know. So congratulations. You pulled ahead of the Lakers, and you're now officially the premier dynasty, or the premier franchise in NBA history. But I look at this roster, Cole, for the Boston Celtics and what they did, the way they built this roster over a handful of seasons. Like they did this organically, right? This isn't a super team of old that was built around 1 or 2 stars, and then they brought in a third piece and a fourth piece, a superstar, an aging superstar to add that little bit extra to get them over the hump. This is a franchise that was built the organic way. Mm-hmm. And I think, Cole, that this team is built to go out there and win another 2 or 3 in the next 5 years.
It very much reminds me of the way that the Golden State Warriors was built not long ago with, as you said a minute ago, organically, not having to go out. And there's nothing wrong with building from within. There's nothing wrong with going out and getting the guys that you need. A little bit of both is a good mix. However, Boston has the guys, the core pieces, like the Tatums, like the Jaylen Browns, who are young, still has a lot of basketball to play. It reminds me of what Golden State did with Curry and Thompson, and then Draymond Green really evolved as a guy who was also a homegrown guy. He evolved into a very important piece that helped them win more championships. So, yeah, I don't think it's going to stop anytime soon, Diesel. If I had to say whether it's going to be a dynasty or not, I'm not sure, because here's the deal. They'll win a lot of games in the East. However, the West is loaded. Minnesota's not going anywhere. The Lakers are the Lakers. They're always going to be at the top of the free agent board, right? The Warriors are going to rebuild. The Denver Nuggets sure as heck aren't going anywhere. The Mavericks, Thunder won the West this year. So, there's stiff competition. So to answer your question, they're going to be really good for a long time. I just don't know that they'll go and win 2 out of the next 3.
Well, to your point, the Lakers are old and stiff, right? They don't get ready for the season by warming up and hitting the locker room and hitting the weight room. They go hit the water aerobics because it's not as tough on their joints, Cole. But I look at the way that this Boston Celtics team is constructed, and to me, the whole way you look at the cap in the NBA seems off to me. Like there's not a single team in the NBA, according to this cap website that I found, that is actually under the cap. Like everybody is spending over the cap. So there's a cap, which nobody adheres to. There's a second cap, and then there's a first apron and a second apron, which that doesn't make you're either over the cap or you're not, right? Like you either enforce the cap or you don't. Well, the Boston Celtics are one of 4 teams in the NBA that are over the second apron, which means they are like level 3 spending too much money, right? And it sets up a series of rules for what the Boston Celtics can and can't do as far as trades and acquisitions. So basically, to explain everything that I'm about to tell you in a nutshell, the Boston Celtics have to do it for the next year or two with the roster they've got right now, because the rules set upon them by being over the second apron says a couple different things about what they can't do. They are not allowed to aggregate 2 or more player salaries in a trade. So it has to be a 1-for-1 trade. They can't bundle players together to make cap space.
Yeah.
They cannot send out cash in a trade. Like, they can't get another team to pay part of their cap for them. They can only re-sign their own free agents. They can only sign draft picks or sign players to minimum contracts. They can only make trades where one player's salary is sent out equal or less equal to a salary that comes back, or they have to sign that incoming player at a lower salary so that they can create more cap space on their side. So the Celtics are kind of hamstrung with what they can and can't do as far as trades. You know, they can't go out and spend and add another guy to their team. They are maxed out. And what would concern me if I was a Boston Celtics fan, Cole, is what happens when Tatum or Brown or somebody like that, or Porzingis, wants a big raise. Like, you literally can't give it to them.
Well,
so those players may say, well, guess what, Boston? If you can't give it to me, trade me somewhere else that will.
Here's the reality of it. The reality of it is these players know that team-friendly deals are going to happen, just like they've happened in Cleveland with LeBron, just like they happened in Golden State with that dynasty. Team-friendly deals will have to happen to keep it together. It happened for a long time in Golden State. I mean, a really long time. And they understand that. Listen, what I look at is Boston lost a guy like Marcus Smart. Marcus Smart helped build the culture in Boston. Marcus Smart was a fantastic basketball player who was a great culture guy and helped get Boston in the last 8 years over the hump. However, Boston had to make a business financial decision, and Brad Stevens, who is a fantastic general manager, said, look, we're going to have to get rid of Marcus Smart. And guess what? That is not the big – there's a lot of teams that would not have cut Marcus Smart when Boston cut him. So that was a very ballsy move by Brad Stevens. But to your point, they have guys that are going to ask for more money. I just trust that Brad Stevens and this coaching staff with Joe Mazzulla will be able to keep this together for a long, long time.
Yeah, so if Derek White, and he kind of is the linchpin for what happens with this franchise going forward, he is up for a contract renegotiation. If he extends with the current salary rate that he is at, and that's tough to do for somebody who is as crucial as he was down the stretch in the playoffs for the Boston Celtics, but if he extends for the same amount of money, and you would be saying, well, I want to extend you for this amount of money so that we can keep winning championships, right? Let's keep the band together. They could keep their entire starting 5 for at least 2 more years.
Yeah.
Think about that. That's a team that went out and won, 70-something games this year. They can keep those 5 intact for at least 2 years. Jason Brown, Jason Tatum, Drew Holiday, and Derek White would all be on this roster until at least 2028.
Yeah.
So in 2026, they could choose to re-sign Kristaps Porzingis. So they got 2 more years with Kristaps. They could choose to extend Al Horford for another year. I mean, they're in a position, Cole, where this Celtics roster can stay intact again for another 2 years, or a majority of it could stay intact for 4 more years. That is scary if you're in the Eastern Conference.
Texter from the 275 says, but like Draymond said, if we don't go get KD, we don't beat the Cavs team the next 2 years, which is true. I hear that. And Draymond did say that. They're right. They don't beat LeBron and Cleveland without KD. I just think that the Eastern Conference right now is in a lot different spot than it was in then.
The West was far more competitive. Thunder, Nuggets, Timberwolves, all three of those teams won 50-plus games. Compare that to what happened in the East. No team was within 15 games of the Boston Celtics.
That's what I'm saying. Who does Boston have to worry about in the East? Philadelphia, they're going to be competitive. Milwaukee has arguably one of the best players in the world with Giannis. We all know that there are teams in the East that are good. The Heat are well coached year in, year out. They're right there. The Boston's best thing going for them, Diesel, and again, this is not taking away any of their success. The best thing they have going for them is the fact that they do play in the Eastern Conference. If they were in the West, it'd be a lot different. However, they're not, right? Ifs and ifs and ifs and ifs. We can if all day long, but the reality of it is, if this team stays together, they're going to rule the East for a long time. Jaylen Brown, I've said it many times on this show, he's the key for me. He's the guy that they have to keep on the roster. And, in the next 5 years, there are going to be guys that get cut. That's the reality of it is. The core guys will stay, but a guy like Jaylen Brown, you can't let go of.
And the core of that is what really matters. Here's audio of Jason Kidd talking about just the way these two teams were constructed and the way Boston has spent years building up to this point, and comparing that to the Mavs, who kind of just came together a couple of months back.
Look at their journey for 7 years. There's been ups, there's been learning, experiences for them with winning and losing. And so understanding for us, we've been together for 5 months, some of us. So this is, a really, positive journey that we've been on here. And we'll look at what we can do as we get to the finals. Just understanding we have to play our best basketball. Unfortunately, Boston was better than us in this series, and they won the championship.
I really find it interesting, Cole, that in so many major sports, we are seeing the organically built teams coming out on top more often than not now. Previously, it was the super teams, right? It was the LeBron and whoever else he was with at the time type of teams. The Warriors when they add KD, right?
Yeah.
Well, we're seeing now the Celtics, who were organically built, win the title. We saw Michigan, who was organically built, win the title. Who else? Clemson organically built.
Pretty organic.
The Kansas City Chiefs, that's a roster that's been together and a staff that's been together for a number of years at this point. I mean, we're seeing the teams that build things organically win. And I find that really fascinating, because we've been taught that, this is just going to be plug and play, and whoever can spend the most money is going to win. No, not necessarily.
Well, it helps to have really good ownership.
Yeah.
It helps to have really good management. And Boston, listen, you look at the teams in the East, for example, who have been contenders year in and year out. Boston has good ownership. They have good management. Who's always good? Who's always contending? The Miami Heat, they have good ownership, really good management. The Knicks do as well. It helps to have basketball guys in place. For example, the Los Angeles Lakers the last few years have not had the best coaching staff, in my mind, in place. And the ownership group hasn't done the best job of really putting the talent on the floor that needs to be there. And you look what happens. You can't just throw it together with some superstars. Scotty from BMW says Cole's disrespecting the Knicks by leaving them out of the Eastern conversation. Well, they're good, Scotty, but they're not going to contend with Boston. Jalen Brunson is very good. And, who knows? If they didn't have a very key injury to Randall earlier in the season, maybe the story's different for the Knicks this year, right? I'm not disrespecting them. Listen, I'm a Jalen Brunson fan. I was very upset when he left Dallas. He's a heck of a player. I just think that Boston right now, the way they're constructed, they're clearly better than everybody in the East.
Shane Barrett said, that's Jason Kidd. Is that not what I said, Shane? If I messed that up, if I misspoke, apologies for that. But as of right now, Boston has by far the best odds to go out and win the 2025 title.
Yep.
Plus 310 for them. It's a long way out to the Nuggets, the Mavericks, and the Thunder after that. Nuggets at plus 750, Mavericks at plus 950. Thunder join them there at plus 950 as well. I just think that this team, the way the Celtics are built, man, I really genuinely believe that they're going to win another 2 titles before this whole thing breaks apart.
There's a very good possibility. They're definitely talented enough to do so. They have the core pieces, and if they can keep them healthy, you can see, I'm not saying you'll see another run that Golden State had, but you can definitely see some similarities with their success. College World Series update on the other side. He's Diesel. I'm Cole Bryson. This is the Fan Upstate. In case you missed it, we will have an interview for you here in about 15 minutes from Kane Swinney, the new baseball coach of the USC Upstate Spartans. He joined us earlier in the show. Fantastic interview. Can't wait to bring that to you here in a few moments. Diesel, it looks like your Seminoles, who you picked to win it all, are going to escape today. Bottom of the ninth, no outs. North Carolina has one more shot, but they've got to score 4 just to tie it, 5 to win it. It's 9-5. Florida State leads at the moment.
Yeah, Florida State in the top of the ninth put 2 runs on the board to extend that lead to 4.
Another home run.
No, yeah, this could be it for the North Carolina Tar Heels. Could be going home with a record of 48-16. Still one heck of a season.
Yeah,
and I love this format. I love this. I know that we've got JD and Madcraft and a couple of guys in our chat who are hardcore pro baseball fans. But are you seriously telling me that the format we've got in pro baseball for the playoffs is better than this? Like, wouldn't this be better to implement a double elimination tournament leading up to the World Series? You can play a 7-game World Series if you want to. That's fine. College, they play 3. I think that's a little short. Should probably be 5. But I mean, come on, like shouldn't the pros do something like this and put all these teams into a scenario where all these games are meaningful? Don't put teams off on an island for a couple
games
days.
Are meaningful.
They're not when you're sitting at home, though. I mean, you look at the Braves. Was it the Braves last year? They were division champions, and so they didn't play in the first round of the playoffs. And then you go back a year before that, it was both the Braves and the Dodgers.
No, I don't like
their division.
I don't like the bye. I don't like the days off.
They both got the bye, and all these teams are losing. So teams are getting the bye are losing a lot.
Well, I think that has more to do with the bye than it does the playoff format, right? Like,
but
just
the playoff
cut
format,
the bye.
right? But changing the playoff format, in my opinion, to the College World Series double elimination format would mean that there are no byes for anyone.
Yeah, you'd have a one odd team out, though. You'd have to cut a team, right? You'd have to cut a team. One less team would make the postseason, I believe.
8. Just make it 8.
Well, listen, they just added recently the extra team. I don't have an issue with the current MLB format. I mean, I hate the bye. I do not. Listen, we've talked about it a million times as a Braves fan. We all know how the Braves fans feel about the bye. But I don't hate the series or anything like that, the wild card series.
I think it's just kind of old hat. Like, Major League Baseball does a series, 3, 5, 7s. NBA playoffs does a series. Hockey does series like this. I mean, it doesn't necessarily mean it's the best possible format just because everybody's doing it.
Yeah. Kentucky, Florida, that was supposed to be tonight, has been postponed until 11 a.m. tomorrow. So we will have 3 college baseball games for you tomorrow. Kentucky, Florida at 11 a.m., Tennessee versus TBD at 3, and then A&M versus their opponent at 7. So it should be a great day of college baseball. And then, we'll get this thing down to elimination game if necessary on Thursday.
I love it. The fighting wait and sees from TBD.
I love it. Their mascot is a really good mascot. And then Saturday starts the series. The Diesel, do you like the series in the
I'm fine with it for the
very last
for the championship. It needs to be done this way. I love the double elimination format
leading up to it.
Yeah.
So as of right now, listen, there's teams still alive. Florida State looks as if they're going to escape today. North Carolina just hit into a 1 and they didn't get the second. So 1 out in the bottom of the 9th. North Carolina season is going to be done. We talked about it earlier, Diesel. Kentucky, Florida, 2 really good teams. Can Florida's, I don't want to call it a magic run, but can their magical run continue? Kentucky has the arms, I think, to slow them down, but that should be a fantastic baseball game tomorrow. In my opinion, Tennessee's still the best team overall, but this is really good college baseball, really good teams that all deserve to be there. And whatever happens this weekend, whatever teams we get in that 3-game series, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, I think we're in for it. I just think that Tennessee right now has a little bit of an upper hand, not having been beat yet.
So looking at Kentucky's, looking back at their season schedule, they did win 2 out of 3 against Florida in early May. So it hasn't been just barely over a month. They won 2 out of 3, 12-11 the first game in 10 innings. Second game, Florida put it on them 10-1. And then in game 3, also 10 innings for that one, 7-5 win for Kentucky. So, these seem to be 2 fairly matched teams that they go to extra innings. So this could be a really exciting matchup.
I wish it was tonight, though. God, I wish it was tonight. Not 11 a.m. tomorrow.
Put a dome on it.
Come on.
Put a dome on every stadium.
This is ridiculous. All right, we'll keep you updated as we continue. Texter, let's see. Actually, that's Shane on the stream says the Braves solution, not to worry about the bye, suck enough early to be worried about just getting in. I see what you're saying there, Shane.
Don't win the division is what he's trying to say.
Right. Don't win the division, just suck early so you don't have to worry about the bye is what Shane was saying there. And look, it may work, right? We'll see. We hope it does. That's not the best route possible, right? But if it works, we'll take it.
Yeah, when we come back, Cole, we had a fantastic conversation earlier with the brand new baseball coach of the USC Upstate Spartans, Kane Swinney. He's going to join us next here on the Fan Upstate.
what? That's how life works. That's how sports betting works. I'm fading my damn net tonight. I was going upstairs and I walked by the studio where the Nationals network broadcast is run out of. And the great JT the Nick upstairs said, hey, make sure you fade the Nats tomorrow. That MGM tonight.
Live sports betting updates as they happen. Weeknights at 7
On the Fan Upstate.
WORD Spartanburg.
USC HD3 and the official sports voice of the Upstate Fan. Odyssey Sports Station.
Ready? Let's go.
The fields to the courts and the gridiron to the tracks.
Electrifying sports talk from start to finish.
You're going wire to wire
With Diesel and Cole Bryson.
on the Fan Upstate.
Keeping it local right here in this very segment as we go to Spartanburg, South Carolina, and bring on Kane Swinney. Kane Swinney entered his 5th season as an assistant this past season, and just a couple of days ago was named the head baseball coach of the USC Upstate Spartans. Coach, we appreciate you coming on. How are you, man? Let's try that again, Coach. Let's see. You got us now?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yep, we got you loud and clear.
All right, awesome. No, thanks for having me on. Appreciate it.
Absolutely, Coach. Look, we know that you've been a part of this Upstate offense and this Upstate team for quite some years now. You had a lot to do with the way that this USC Upstate offense was so impactful over the last few years. What's it been like just the last few days as you have now been named the new head baseball coach?
Honestly, it's been a little bit of a whirlwind, but in a good way for sure. My first order of business was to call all of our returning players and all of our incoming players and try to entice them to stay. I guess been very fortunate. I haven't lost outside of one guy. I haven't lost anybody to the transfer portal. So or reopening commitments or anything like that. So very blessed that's been the case so far. Hopefully it stays that way. Also very blessed to keep my staff in order as well. I'm keeping our pitching coach and our assistant pitching coach, Jacob Konderbogen and Nick Hoffman. So those were the first orders of business for me. And obviously after that is trying to get the whole staff together, trying to complete that and, get into the summer, get into the recruiting and try to get good players in here so we can keep winning.
Kane Swinney elevated to the new head baseball coach at USC Upstate, joining us here on Wire to Wire with Diesel and Cole Bryson. Coach, you've been around this league for a number of years now. You know this league top to bottom. Do you think that the Big South, as constructed right now, can have a team that goes and wins it big the way Coastal did a few years ago?
I do actually. I believe the league as a whole has been getting better for the last 5 years. Obviously Campbell departed. And they were a big part of our league. I know they had earned an at-large bid while they were in the league as well. And I think that's the future of this league is somebody else getting that opportunity to be in at-large. I'm hopeful that it's us. That's the plan. I'm planning on scheduling that way and putting things together and trying to win enough games to put ourselves in position to be in at-large. Obviously, if that's not the case, then hopefully go win a Big South championship. But I do think the league as a whole has gotten better. It's changed a lot since I've been here. I felt like my first few years here was very pitching and defense heavy. Over the last year or two, it feels like the offense has started to really kind of come around. So I think at some point you'll see it kind of stabilize to somewhere in the middle, but I know there's a lot of teams in the league that have done a good job and a lot of new coaches around, a lot of fresh faces. So people trying to establish their identities. And I think we're kind of the same way. I think we've been successful. We've been establishing our identity. I don't expect that to change much. The plan is to just go win the championship and see how many we can get.
Coach, what would you say you learned most from Mike McGuire and the time you spent under him?
Well, he's my mentor. I mean, for me, he's been the guy that he came in my sophomore year of college, so I played for him for 3 years at Morehead State. Learned a lot. I feel I owe him a lot in my career as a player, as a coach, and as a person. So he's meant a lot to me personally. He's helped me tremendously in coaching. I know there will be a lot of things that will stay the same because I believe in a lot of the things that he did. There'll be some things that change because there's some things that I've learned along the way that maybe I want to change. But either way, he's meant a lot to me just in that sense that I had the opportunity to play for him. I saw how he treated his players, how much he cared about his players. And then as a coach, getting the opportunity to work for him and understanding what the recruiting stuff looks like, understanding what the other side dealing with administration and stuff like that looks like. So I've learned a lot, and I feel prepared for it because of who I've worked for. Obviously, he's been successful everywhere that he's been, and I really don't expect that to change. I believe he'll be successful at Winthrop as well. I'll have a lot of fun coaching against him for the next handful of years, but that'll be a change. We've always been competing together, and now we got the opportunity to compete against each other for recruits and for wins and losses on the field. It'll be a lot of fun.
How do you anticipate that first matchup is going to go? Do you think you're going to just do what you do best and hope that your team comes out ahead, or do you anticipate scheming against him? Here's what I think he's going to do, so I'm going to do this. How do you see that going?
I think there'll be a lot of mind games being played. I'm sure we still talk. We've talked every day basically since all of this has happened. So obviously our relationship is really good. I anticipate that we'll talk a lot about our programs and stuff moving forward. Maybe not giving too much insight, but just some general details. And when we go play, I think we're just going to go play and let our boys compete and let the boys fight it out, and hopefully we come out on top.
Coach Kane Swinney, the new head baseball coach at USC Upstate. Coach, for anyone listening, that might be a high school or even younger baseball player here in the Upstate, what would Kane Swinney's recruiting pitch be to come play baseball for you and Upstate?
Well, to me, we've established ourselves as a program that wins consistently, and I think there's a lot to be said for that. Everybody enjoys winning. Nobody likes losing. But I think you're getting a guy, you're getting a coach that's going to care about you as a player, and care about your development, care about you on a personal level, and trying to get the most out of you so you can reach your goals and dreams as a player. I tell guys all the time when I have conversations with players that every guy that comes through the door here wants to play professional baseball. And I want that for each and every guy. Realistically, we understand that's not going to happen for every guy, but my job as a coach is to put you in a position to grow as a player and as a person. And that's something that I truly believe in. And I think we've done a good job of establishing that here, that, we care a lot about our guys. I think you see it in, when guys come into the office and just chat with you when they're going home for the summers and stuff like that. They understand that we make them a priority. The players are always going to be the priority here. You can't win without players. I believe that the players drive the program. The players drive our success. It doesn't matter how good of a coach I am. I got to get good players in, and I got to get them to buy into what I want them to believe in, and go out there and do everything that they can to win championships for the program that I'm at. And obviously at USC Upstate, that's the plan moving forward. I want guys in here that want to win, that want to be a part of our development, and that are committed to being here. And that's obviously something new in today's day and age with the transfer portal and everything going on. A lot of guys are looking for new homes. In our case, we've been very fortunate that we've been able to hold on to a lot of really good players because they love what we do here. And that means a lot to me as a coach.
Yeah, Coach, you talked about, I want you to expand on that just a little bit, talking about identity that you mentioned earlier. In your mind, what does your ideal squad makeup look like? Are you 80% high school recruiting, 20% transfer portal, or do you want to kind of do things the way the other Swinney down the road in Clemson does things and go all high school and hang on to them as best you can?
No, it's a blend. It's a blend for us. We've done a lot of high school stuff. We've done a lot of junior college stuff. We have dabbled in the portal, but it hasn't been a ton. Like even this year, we don't have a player committed to us out of the transfer portal. And that's not saying that we won't add somebody at some point, but if you look at our roster makeup right now, it's about 50-50 high school kid to junior college kid. And I think it'll stay that way. Obviously a junior college kid has more experience playing collegiate baseball and has a good understanding of maybe what their growth and development needs to look like. High school kids, maybe not so much, but that gives you kind of a fresh platform to kind of instill some beliefs in them and help guide them along their careers as well. And like I said, guys entering the transfer portal and stuff like that, it's been a crazy time. It's something you have to adjust to as a coach. So for me, it's trying to get guys to buy into our culture, believe in what we believe in, and everybody pushing in the same direction to try and reach your ultimate goal. And I think we've done a good job of that here. I don't expect that to change, and I think that's part of the reason I'm so excited about our future as a program is when you're able to keep your staff together and keep all the guys that you've recruited together. It means a lot. It means a lot. And obviously it's exciting for us to kind of go into it expecting that we have a team that's ready to compete for championships in year one.
Coach, I want to ask you, do you take it personally when a player chooses to leave your roster and go into the transfer portal? I mean, you got to think that it's hard not to, especially somebody that you've put time and energy and love into. Is it hard not to take that personally?
It is. It is. And I think that's part of being a coach is having an understanding of the player's side as well. And that's something that I've tried to remind myself of along the way. I've had the opportunity to play at a lot of different levels, and I've had success and failures at all those different levels. I'm not so far removed from playing that I haven't forgot what it feels like to be 0 for 4 and stuff like that. So I think that's part of being able to effectively communicate with your players, but also, it's hard. It's hard not to take it personal. But at the same time, when I'm recruiting guys, I try to tell them in the recruiting process, ultimately I want to do what's best for your career. I'm always going to try to put you in a position to be successful. So if these guys believe that it's in their best interest for their futures and their careers to enter the transfer portal and see what's out there, who am I to tell them otherwise? I guess that's kind of the way I've started approaching it. And, I think our guys know that I'm looking out for their careers at the end of the day. And I think that's why so many guys are staying put here at Upstate.
Coach Kane Swinney joining us on the Fan Upstate. We appreciate you taking time to join us, Coach. I want to ask you about an interesting statistic. I know that in 2023, you helped Upstate have one of the most prolific offenses to date. However, in 2022, under your direction, you helped the team set the program record for times being hit by a pitch at 103. I mean, I know that our goal is to get guys on base, but how in the world did you come up with this? How are you able to be so successful at getting your players to be hit by a pitch?
Honestly, it's not something that we work on every day in practice or anything like that. So it's kind of crazy that it worked out that way. I think a lot of it, we get junior college guys from all over the country, and some of those guys come from programs where, you kind of get penalized if you move feet. Maybe you got to run a lap around the field or whatever. So our guys kind of learn that, hey, I'm not bailing. If there's a pitch in there that I can get hit by and get on base for free, I'm going to take my opportunity. And I think that comes with just kind of a toughness in general with some of our guys. I mean, if you look at our roster, it's a lot of kids from tough areas of the country, and that's something that I like. I like that toughness, the mental toughness, the physical toughness, not being afraid to get hit by a pitch, but just guys that love competing. And I want guys that want to compete, that want to win. I mean, if you get guys like that in your program, your chances of having success are much higher.
Coach, I want to get your thoughts on a proposed change stemming from the recent House versus NCAA settlement. I don't know exactly where this is, but I've heard it rumored that would allow schools to fully fund roster limits instead of a scholarship limit, where baseball programs have to split 11.5 scholarships now, and would allow schools that choose to, the SEC schools of the world, and who can afford to fully fund every scholarship on their roster if that's what they want to do. And I want to know your thoughts of how something like that would and could affect schools like yours with a smaller budget.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of ways that it can go. I think you're seeing it now. The landscape in college baseball and in college athletics as a whole is changing basically daily. I don't know what the future holds. I think at some point you'll see the NCAA will kind of come out with some regulations and standards, I think, on some stuff to try and help everybody have a better understanding of what's actually going on. A lot of it right now it almost feels like just kind of free reign. The schools that have the most money can do a lot more than the schools that don't have a lot of money. And we're one of those schools that, isn't the most funded school in the country. You know what I mean? So for us, it's trying to establish that. I think it starts, like I was talking about earlier, it starts in the relationship process. We have to be able to build good relationships with our players to get players into our program. We're not going to be like some of these SEC schools that can offer a lot of money and NIL deals and stuff like that. So, but like I said, you're seeing the landscape change every day. You just like us, we're trying to figure it out on the fly. So, hopefully we get some regulations and stuff in place here soon that at least help us have a better understanding of what it's going to look like moving forward.
Coach, my last question for you. For those that don't follow USC Upstate baseball as closely as you do, obviously being the coach and have been an assistant for some time now, Who are some guys that you tried to get back or are still waiting on to get back for the 2024 season? Some guys that you feel like should be big pieces of your roster next year?
So I actually have had some calls with some guys today, and we're getting some of our key freshmen back, which is really exciting. We had our freshman of the year, Vance Sheehan, who played third base for us this past year. I expect that he's got the opportunity to earn the shortstop job this season. He's back. I talked to him today. Couple arms are back: Braden Council, Cooper Ellingworth, Darren Kuski. All three incredibly talented arms that all have chances to be pros. High velocity guys, good pitchability guys. So I'm really excited about those four guys in particular. Our everyday second baseman last year, Jake Armsey, is returning. So, and Tyler Lang, our catcher, he's returning as well. So, I mean, we definitely have guys in place that, have been big adds. Some guys that we're waiting to hear from, and most of these guys are in the transfer portal or looking to go pro, or guys like Kobe Croft, Jace Reinhardt, and Trent Hodgson. Those are guys to me that all have the opportunity to be professionals, hopefully come July, and they all entered the transfer portal, hopefully put themselves in a better position to be pros. And I can't blame them for that. If it's an opportunity of a lifetime for them, and I'm not here to force them to stay somewhere that they don't want to be. So, and it's not that they don't want to be here; it's that they feel like they have the opportunity to make more money in the draft, and it's good for them. So, at the end of the day, I'm going to try to do what's best for the players.
Coach Kane Swinney, head baseball coach at USC Upstate. Coach, I want to ask you, in what ways has USC Upstate finding success against big programs? I'm thinking back to last year when you beat Clemson. How has that really helped in recruiting? How effective of a tool is a big win like that for you?
Oh, it's huge. It's huge. I mean, and I think it shows. We talk to recruits all the time about, we're going to play a challenging schedule, and we're going to do that every single year. And it's for them to showcase themselves in front of a bigger audience, a bigger crowd, as well as get USC Upstate on the map. I want to get USC Upstate on the map nationally. I think we've done some things that have allowed us to get some national recognition, but I want to expand on that in the future and obviously earn more wins. But I think that comes with playing a lot of different opponents. I mean, we've beaten Clemson, we've beaten South Carolina, we've beaten Georgia Tech. We've beaten a lot of really good opponents, and we're not afraid to play a challenging schedule. But when you look at the recruiting side of things, I mean, that's what these kids want to do. I mean, they want to go play the who's who of college baseball. And for us as a program, if we're going to establish ourselves as national contenders and teams that can compete for championships consistently, we got to go play those guys and find out where we stack up. And at this point, I feel like we're a program that's been on the rise, and it feels like a good time for us to kind of knock the door down and make some serious noise across the country. So we're going to continue to play a schedule like that to put ourselves in position to be best prepared when we go to a regional. And hopefully that's happening in the next year.
Hey, Coach, you got a College World Series pick for us?
Hey, we played Kentucky. We played Kentucky opening weekend. I think a lot of their program and what they do, I think they are the team that is best built to win in Omaha. A lot of pitching and defense with a lot of scrappy hitters in their lineup. So that if you would have asked me a couple days ago who my pick was, I would have picked Kentucky.
There you go.
Yeah, last question for me, Coach. Are there any plans for USC Upstate to team up with the Spartanburgers and the new stadium that's coming to downtown Spartanburg? Any chance to show off your talents in their stadium?
Yeah, I hope so. I hope so. I think that's kind of been a conversation piece, at least here on campus. I think that's something that we're definitely interested in. I know we've played some games at Fluor Field in the past. Would really like to continue the relationship with Fluor Field, but also expand on another relationship here with the team in Spartanburg. So anytime we got a chance to play at a minor league park, it's a really cool experience for our guys, and that's something I definitely want to do moving forward.
Well, Coach, congratulations on the new job. Go out there and give them hell, my friend.
Thanks, Coach. We appreciate you.
Absolutely, guys. Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Yes, that is Kane Swinney, the new head baseball coach of the USC Upstate Spartans. Diesel, a little bit of a panic, but no reason to panic. Florida State had the basic.
And here's to Kingsford Original Charcoal, America's grill.
Last 8 minutes of the show here today on Wire to Wire with Diesel and Cole Bryson on the Fan Upstate. Let's wrap it up with a rapid fire run through of all your daily wires. This is what's happening around the sports world. Just read very quickly. Boston won their 18th franchise title last night, 106-88, defeating the Mavs in 5. That now puts them ahead of the LA Lakers for the most franchise titles in the NBA. Congratulations to you Boston Celtics fans. I don't have this like hatred of Boston teams that a lot of people around here have.
I don't love them.
I don't understand it. I don't know. They're just elite. I'm not a lover of Boston teams either. Kristaps Porzingis though will have surgery on his leg to repair that torn medial retinaculum. He expects several months of recovery time, but hey, he could be ready early in the 2024-25 season.
Big piece for them, man.
Yeah,
they need him back.
Huge to get him back sooner rather than later. The Paris Games are very rapidly approaching, Cole. It's finally been announced what our American athletes will be wearing when they walk out during opening ceremonies.
Oh, tux?
No. Fancier than that. Ralph Lauren is designing the outfits, right? Big American company. Congratulations to them for getting that contract. Well, David Lauren, who is the son of Ralph Lauren and is the senior brand manager for Ralph Lauren, said, quote, "Nothing says America like blue jeans, especially when you're in Paris. It gives the athletes a chance to feel a sense of their culture, but also feel like themselves and what is natural."
Man,
his words, he didn't actually say anything.
Will they have holes in them?
No, I don't think they're going to be cut at the knees.
No holy jeans.
No, but they're going to be wearing like a white shirt with red stripes on it, a blue blazer on top of that, and then blue jeans underneath. So, I mean, I guess it's like every business casual meeting over the past 10 years. Let's see. This is a sad story, Cole. More violence breaking out at youth sporting events. An unidentified man in Maryland shot and killed one adult and injured a 5-year-old after an altercation at an under-7 youth football game that got heated. One of them pulled a gun on the other. The suspect fled the scene and is still being sought by police. Names have not been released in this situation. Just scary, and a reminder, calm the F down, right? When you're at a youth sporting event.
Again, dads living vicariously through their kids.
You see the memes all the time at like baseball stadiums that say, hey, nobody's getting a contract based off of this game.
Yeah, right.
Nobody's going to the league because of this. The referees, they are volunteers. Calm down. But yet it happens very, very far too often.
Man.
Yeah.
So it's just pitiful.
It really is. A live update on the Rocco's Shot Board Challenge. We haven't got an update in about 5 hours or so, but as of earlier today, Tennessee was leading this thing with just shy of 9,700 shots purchased. Texas A&M was in second place at 8,600. So less than 1,000 shots separates.
Do you have all
Tennessee
the numbers
from Texas A&M? I do here.
All right, spit them all.
Florida State 3752.
Okay.
Virginia 1389.
Pitiful, but okay.
Right. North Carolina 4474.
Okay.
Florida 3273.
Hold on, I got to go back.
Apologies. 3273.
Okay.
Tennessee has 9681.
Okay.
Texas A&M 8596.
All right.
Kentucky 6065.
Okay.
And NC State 2552.
That, and they're $5 a piece.
$5 a pop.
That is $201,000.
Oh my God.
Almost. I mean, I don't want to say almost ridiculous. I mean, that is unbelievable.
$200,000 in Jell-O shots have been purchased. Remember, again,
$200,000.
that a lot of this money, this doesn't all go to Rocco's restaurant. A lot of this goes to support charities and local food banks and things like that. Last year, this is something they've got pinned to their Twitter account, the CWS Jell-O Shot Challenge Twitter account. Last year, Rocco's donated $142,464 to the food bank for the Heartland there in Omaha.
God.
So over $140,000 in donations. Of course, they got to cover their own costs. Jello ain't cheap the way that it used to be. Let's see here. North Carolina was eliminated today by Florida State. Looked like Florida State might have been giving that one away late, but
It was close, wasn't it?
But Florida State finally started getting some runs in. They hit a 2-run home run there in the top of the ninth to pull away and win by a margin of 4 runs. The elimination game between Florida and Kentucky that was slated for 7 o'clock tonight has been pushed to 11 a.m. tomorrow. So there will be 3 baseball games tomorrow. Cole Stanley Cup Finals Game 5 is tonight at 8 o'clock. The Oilers won 8-1 in Game 4. And the fan who has now gone viral, she is Oilers Kate, has spoken publicly about her display in the, I believe it would have been the Western Conference Finals. Between the Oilers and the Dallas Stars. And she had this to say about all the haters who are coming out on the internet throwing sharp, pointy objects at her.
Oilers girl. Actually, my name's Kate, but here we are. So I've thought long and hard about what I wanted to say to everybody.
She's super hot, by the way.
Anybody who knows me knows that I'm at one of my favorite places right now. Come here to do some thinking, we'll call it. But I just wanted to say, you could be the most perfect, godly fucking person in the world. You could save kittens from a river if they were drowning. Someone's still going to hate you. So you know what? At the end of the day, I got drunk and whipped my tits out at an Oilers game and they went viral. Fuck you if you don't like it. Woo! Go Oilers.
God.
Somebody wife this woman up right now.
It doesn't, it's getting worse.
Bill Belichick, you chose poorly, man. You could have had Oilers Kate.
Oh,
Remember,
my word.
She is an oil field worker.
There's
in
no
Canada.
way. There's no way that's real. That's real. Are you pulling my...
Let's play this again.
Save
the
kittens.
Most perfect, godly fucking person in the world. You could save kittens from a river if they were drowning. Yeah. Someone's still going to hate you. So you know what? At the end of the day, I got drunk and whipped my tits out at an Oilers game and they went viral. Fuck you if you don't like it. Woo! Go Oilers.
I like the woo at the end.
I mean,
woo!
To be honest, that's not bad life advice.
Woo!
I mean,
you can save kittens.
Facts.
Somebody's still going to hate you.
Exactly. Oilers
haters.
Wife that woman up, please. Hey, college football fans, we are now 66 days away from college football, and Phil Steele's 2024 College Football Preview Magazine is out. I don't think either Cole or I have picked ours up, but it is imminent. It is going to happen soon. Jake Paul has announced that he will now fight Mike Perry on July 20th. That's the date he was originally scheduled to fight Mike Tyson. That fight has been rescheduled for November. Neither Cole nor I have any delusions about that fight actually.
I thought we were going. We're not going? Odyssey.
Yeah, Odyssey's
trip?
not footing the bill for that. I mean, he's not going to fight Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson is going to rip Jake Paul's punk ass head off his shoulders. Jake knows it. Mike knows it. So he's pushing this thing back. He's going to fake an injury in the Mike Perry fight, and he won't be able to fight, and they're going to have to push it back even more.
Well, it was Mike's fault for having to push it back in the first place.
What a pansy. What a pansy.
Come on, Jake.
And then finally, Lane Kiffin will not be playing his old team in 2025 and 26. The Ole Miss Southern Cal series has officially been mutually canceled.
Oh, won't. So sad. All right, quick reminder, we will not be on these airwaves tomorrow. It is a company holiday, Juneteenth. We will be back in action on Thursday. We'll see you then. Tolo.